I sat across from Jennifer Martinez in the glass-walled conference room, watching her practice the smile she'd used to fire me. She was the new VP of Operations, brought in 6 months ago with her MBA from Wharton, and her theories about operational efficiency that looked great in PowerPoint, but had never been tested in the real world. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across the polished table between us. I'd sat in this room hundreds of times over 32 years. I'd closed deals here. I'd celebrated victories here. I'd built relationships that generated millions in revenue. But today felt different. Today felt like an ending. "Michael," she said, her voice carefully modulated, professionally sympathetic. "We need to discuss some organizational changes." I was 58 years old. I'd spent 32 years at Hartwell & Associates, a mid-sized consulting firm that I'd helped build from 20 employees to over 200. I'd brought in our 3 biggest clients: Meridian Technologies, a $15 million annual account, Apex Manufacturing, $12 million, and Cornerstone Financial, $10 million, $37 million in annual recurring revenue, nearly 40% of the company's total income. I'd built those relationships from nothing, one meeting at a time, one delivered promise at a time, one crisis solved at a time. What happened next changed everything I thought I knew about loyalty, about value, about what really matters in business. If you've ever been made to feel like your experience doesn't matter, if you've ever been replaced by someone younger and cheaper, this story is for you. I'm so glad you're here. Please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I want to know how far this story travels. Because what I did next, what happened in the 3 months after that meeting, it's something they never saw coming. "We're restructuring the client services division," Jennifer continued, sliding a folder across the table. Her nails were perfectly manicured, painted a corporate-appropriate shade of burgundy. "We're moving toward a more dynamic, digitally native approach to client management. We need people who understand social media engagement, who can leverage AI tools, who speak the language of modern business." I felt my stomach drop. I knew what was coming. I'd seen this movie before, watched it happen to colleagues over the past year. The careful corporate language, the buzzwords about digital transformation, the implication that anyone over 50 was a dinosaur who couldn't adapt. "You're letting me go," I said flatly. No point in pretending I didn't understand. No point in making her dance around it with euphemisms and corporate doublespeak. Jennifer's smile faltered for just a moment. "We're offering a very generous early retirement package," she said, opening the folder. 6-month severance, full benefits through the end of the year, and outplacement services. "We value everything you've contributed to Hartwell & Associates over the years, Michael. This isn't about your performance, it's about positioning the company for the future." The future, as if I wasn't part of it. As if 32 years of experience, of relationships, of institutional knowledge meant nothing compared to someone who knew how to make a TikTok video. "Who's taking over my accounts?" I asked, though I already suspected the answer. "We're promoting Kyle Henderson," Jennifer said. And there it was. The punch to the gut I'd been expecting. Kyle Henderson was 25 years old. He'd been with the company for 18 months, hired straight out of business school as an intern and then brought on full-time. He was smart, I'd give him that. Ambitious, eager. But he'd never managed a major client relationship. He'd never had to save an account that was threatening to leave. He'd never had to deliver bad news to a CEO and then figure out how to fix the problem. He'd never built anything from scratch. "Kyle's been shadowing you for the past few months," Jennifer continued. "He has fresh ideas about how to leverage digital platforms for client engagement. He understands the tools that modern businesses need. And frankly, Michael, his compensation requirements are more aligned with our current budget constraints." There it was. The real reason. Not that I was too old, though that was part of it. Not that I couldn't adapt, though they'd convinced themselves of that too. The real reason was that Kyle cost half what I did. He'd work for $60,000 a year and think he was rich. I was making $140,000, earned over 3 decades of delivering results. In their spreadsheet, that made Kyle the better choice. "You want me to train him?" I said. It wasn't a question. Jennifer had the decency to look uncomfortable. "We'd appreciate a smooth transition," she said. 2 weeks to transfer your client relationships, share your institutional knowledge, introduce Kyle to your key contacts. We want to make sure our clients feel taken care of during this change." I almost laughed. They wanted me to hand over everything I'd built. Every relationship, every insight, every hard-won piece of knowledge about what made these clients tick, what they needed, what they feared, what motivated them. They wanted me to gift-wrap my life's work and hand it to a kid who thought business was about Instagram followers and LinkedIn engagement metrics. I looked at Jennifer Martinez with her Wharton MBA and her operational efficiency theories and her complete lack of understanding about what actually made this business work. And I made a decision. "Fine," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. 2 weeks. I'll make sure Kyle knows everything he needs to know. The relief on her face was almost comical. She'd been prepared for a fight, for anger, for threats of lawsuits. Instead, I was being professional, cooperative, exactly what they wanted. "Thank you, Michael," she said, standing up and extending her hand. "I really appreciate your professionalism. This is going to be a positive change for everyone." I shook her hand, feeling the cool dryness of her palm against mine. Then I walked out of that conference room for what I thought might be the last time, my mind already racing through possibilities, through plans, through the careful steps I'd need to take over the next 2 weeks. The office looked the same as it always had. Cubicles arranged in neat rows, the hum of conversations and keyboard clicks, the coffee station in the corner where I'd had 1,000 informal meetings with colleagues over the years. But it felt different now. It felt like I was already a ghost, already erased, already irrelevant. I walked past Kyle Henderson's desk. He was on his phone, probably scrolling through social media, probably thinking about his weekend plans. He looked up as I passed, gave me a quick nod, then went back to his screen. He had no idea what was coming, no idea what he was about to inherit, no idea how much he didn't know. My office was on the corner, windows on 2 sides, a view of the city that I'd earned over 3 decades. I'd started in a cubicle just like Kyle's. I'd worked my way up, one success at a time, one client at a time, 1 year at a time. And now they were giving it all to someone who'd been here 18 months. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. Then I did something I'd never done before in 32 years. I opened my personal email account, not the company one, and I started making a list. Meridian Technologies. Contact: Richard Chen, CEO. Relationship: 12 years. Contract value: 15 million annually. Pain points: scaling operations, maintaining quality during growth, finding talent. Why they stay: trust, personal relationship, understanding of their business. Apex Manufacturing. Contact: Patricia Kowalski, COO. Relationship: 8 years. Contract value: 12 million annually. Pain points: supply chain optimization, cost reduction, regulatory compliance. Why they stay: crisis management. I've saved their ass 3 times. Cornerstone Financial. Contact: James Morrison, CFO. Relationship: 15 years. Contract value: 10 million annually. Pain points: risk management, digital transformation, competitive pressure. Why they stay: strategic thinking. I understand finance. I speak their language. $37 million in annual revenue. Built on relationships that took years to develop. Crises that took expertise to solve. Trust that took consistency to earn. And Jennifer Martinez thought Kyle Henderson could maintain that with fresh ideas and digital platforms. She had no idea how business actually worked. She had no idea that these clients didn't stay because of the company. They stayed because of me. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the role they expected. The gracious veteran, passing the torch to the next generation. The consummate professional, putting the company's interest first. The team player, making sure the transition was smooth. I introduced Kyle to Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies. We had lunch at Richard's favorite restaurant, a small Italian place downtown where the owner knew him by name. Kyle spent the entire meal talking about digital transformation strategies and AI-powered analytics. Richard nodded politely, asked a few questions, but I could see the concern in his eyes. After lunch, as we walked back to the car, Richard pulled me aside. "Michael," he said quietly, "is everything okay? This kid seems smart, but he doesn't understand our business. He's talking about solutions to problems we don't have." "He's fine," I lied. "Young, eager, lots of energy. He'll learn." "But you're not going anywhere, right?" Richard asked. "You're still going to be my point of contact?" "I'm retiring," I said, the word tasting like ash in my mouth. Time to make room for the next generation. Richard's face fell. That's a mistake, he said. You know our business. You know our challenges. You've been there for us through 3 major crises. This kid, he's got theories, you've got experience. There's a difference. I'll make sure he has all my notes, I said. All my insights. Everything I know about your account. Richard didn't look convinced, but he shook my hand. If you ever decide to do consulting on your own, he said, call me. I mean it. I filed that comment away. 1 data point. 1 possibility. 1 door that might be opening even as another was closing. The meeting with Patricia Kowalski at Apex Manufacturing went similarly. Kyle talked about leveraging synergies and optimizing touchpoints. Patricia listened with the patience of someone who'd been in business for 30 years and had heard every buzzword ever invented. Afterward, she cornered me in the parking lot. They're replacing you with him? She asked bluntly. Patricia had never been one for subtlety. Company decision, I said. They want a younger, more digital-focused approach. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Patricia said. You saved us when that supplier went bankrupt in 2019. You restructured our entire logistics system in 2021. You know our operations better than half our own managers. This kid knows PowerPoint. I appreciate that, Patricia, I said. But it's done. The decision's made. Well, it's a mistake, she said. And if you ever want to work together outside of Hartwell, you let me know. We'd hire you in a heartbeat. 2 data points. 2 clients who valued experience over youth. 2 relationships that were built on trust and results, not on digital platforms and fresh ideas. The meeting with James Morrison at Cornerstone Financial was the most telling. James was a CFO, a numbers guy, someone who measured everything in terms of risk and return. He listened to Kyle's pitch about innovative client engagement strategies, then turned to me. Michael, he said, ignoring Kyle completely, what do you think about our Q4 projections? We discussed them the week before, a complex analysis of market conditions and regulatory changes that would impact their business. I walked him through my thoughts, the risks I saw, the opportunities I'd identified. Kyle sat there silent, probably not understanding half of what we were discussing. After the meeting, James pulled me aside. They're idiots, he said simply. You're the reason we stay with Hartwell, not the company. You. If that changes, we'll need to reconsider our relationship. I understand, I said, but give Kyle a chance. He's smart. He'll learn. James looked at me like I'd just suggested he invest in cryptocurrency based on a TikTok video. Michael, I've been in finance for 35 years, he said. I know the difference between smart and experienced. Smart is great for entry-level positions. Experience is what you need when millions of dollars are on the line. If you're not managing our account, we're not staying. That's not a threat. That's just reality. 3 data points. 3 clients who'd made it clear that their loyalty was to me, not to Hartwell and Associates. 3 relationships that represented $37 million in annual revenue. 3 accounts that were about to be managed by a 25-year-old with 18 months of experience and a head full of digital marketing strategies. On my last day, they threw me a party. Cake in the break room, a plaque thanking me for 32 years of service, speeches about my contributions and my legacy. Jennifer Martinez gave a toast about how I'd built the foundation that the next generation would build upon. Kyle stood next to her, smiling, probably thinking about how he was about to manage 40% of the company's revenue. I smiled. I thanked everyone. I shook hands and accepted well wishes and promised to stay in touch. And then I walked out of Hartwell and Associates for the last time, carrying a box with my personal belongings and a head full of plans they never saw coming. That night, I sat in my home office, the same office where I'd worked late nights for 32 years, where I'd solved client problems and built presentations and earned every dollar of my salary. My wife, Susan, found me there at midnight, staring at my laptop. You're not really retiring, are you? She asked. She'd been married to me for 34 years. She knew me better than anyone. No, I said. I'm not. What are you going to do? Susan asked, sitting down across from me. She had that look on her face, the one that said she already knew the answer, but wanted to hear me say it out loud. I'm going to start my own consulting firm, I said. The words felt right as soon as I spoke them. Solid, real, possible. I'm going to offer the same services Hartwell does, but better, more personalized, more experienced. more focused on actual results instead of digital buzzwords. Susan was quiet for a moment, processing. Then she smiled. "You're going to take your clients," she said. It wasn't a question. "I'm going to offer them a choice," I corrected. "They can stay with Hartwell and work with Kyle, or they can work with me. If they choose me, that's their decision." "That's not what your non-compete agreement says," Susan pointed out. She was a lawyer, had been for 30 years. She knew exactly what kind of legal landmines I was walking into. I pulled up the document on my laptop. The non-compete agreement I'd signed when I joined Hartwell & Associates 32 years ago. Back then, non-competes were simple, one-page documents that nobody paid much attention to. This one was no exception. "I read it carefully," Susan said, 3 times. "It says I can't solicit Hartwell's clients for a period of 12 months. But there's a problem." "What problem?" Susan asked, leaning forward. "It doesn't define solicit," I said. "If a client calls me and asks me to work with them, that's not solicitation. That's them exercising their right to choose their service provider. If I happen to mention to a client that I'm available for consulting work and they happen to decide to hire me, that's not solicitation either. That's just information." Susan raised an eyebrow. "That's a very narrow interpretation," she said. "It's the correct interpretation," I replied. "And there's something else. The agreement was written in 1993. It references consulting services in the telecommunications and manufacturing sectors. But 2 of my 3 biggest clients are in technology and financial services, sectors that didn't exist in their current form when this agreement was written." Susan started to smile. "You've been thinking about this," she said. "I've been thinking about nothing else for 2 weeks," I admitted. "They think they can replace 32 years of experience with 18 months of enthusiasm. They think relationships don't matter. They think clients will stay because of the company name, not because of the person who actually does the work. They're wrong, and I'm going to prove it." "How much money do we have saved?" Susan asked, shifting into practical mode. "About 400,000 in retirement accounts," I said. "Another 100,000 in savings. The house is paid off. We could live on that for a few years if we had to, but I don't think we'll have to." "Why not?" Susan asked. "Because I'm not starting from zero," I said. "I have relationships, I have expertise, I have a reputation that I built over 3 decades. I don't need to spend years building a client base. I already have one. They just don't know it yet." Over the next week, I set up the infrastructure. I registered an LLC, Mitchell Consulting Group. Simple, professional, built around my name and my reputation. I rented a small office downtown. Nothing fancy, just a space with a desk and a conference room and a view that reminded me I was building something new. I hired a lawyer to review my non-compete agreement and confirm what I already knew. It was poorly written, narrowly defined, and probably unenforceable given how much the industry had changed in 32 years. I hired an accountant to set up my books and help me structure my pricing. I built a website simple and clean, focused on experience and results rather than buzzwords and promises. I created a LinkedIn profile that highlighted my 32 years of experience, my track record of results, my expertise in client relationship management. And then I waited. I didn't call Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies. I didn't call Patricia Kowalski at Apex Manufacturing. I didn't call James Morrison at Cornerstone Financial. I didn't solicit anyone. I just made sure they knew I existed. I posted on LinkedIn about launching my consulting practice. I mentioned my 32 years of experience, my track record of helping companies scale operations, optimize supply chains, and manage risk. I didn't mention Hartwell & Associates. I didn't mention any specific clients. I just put the information out there and waited to see who would respond. Richard Chen called me 3 days later. "Michael," he said, "I saw your LinkedIn post. You started your own firm?" "I did," I said. "After 32 years at Hartwell, I decided it was time to do something on my own. Focus on what I do best, which is building relationships and delivering results." "How's it going with Kyle?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. Richard sighed. "He's a nice kid," he said. "Smart, enthusiastic. But Michael, he doesn't understand our business. He's been here 3 weeks and he's already proposed 2 initiatives that would have been disasters if we'd implemented them. He's got ideas, but he doesn't have judgment. He doesn't have experience. He doesn't have what you have." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "I'm sure he'll learn." "Maybe," Richard said, "but we don't have time for him to learn on our dime. Meridian is at a critical point. We're scaling fast. We're facing operational challenges, and we need someone who understands what we're dealing with. We need someone who's been there before. We need you. I appreciate that, Richard, I said carefully. But you have a contract with Hartwell. I can't interfere with that. Our contract is up for renewal in 30 days, Richard said. And I'm the one who decides whether we renew it or not. If I choose not to renew with Hartwell and instead hire you as an independent consultant, that's my decision. That's not solicitation. That's me exercising my right to choose who I work with. He'd clearly talked to a lawyer too. Smart man. If you decide to make that choice, I said, I'd be honored to work with you. But I want to be clear about something. I'm not Hartwell & Associates. I don't have 200 employees. I don't have a big office and a fancy conference room. What I have is 32 years of experience, a track record of results, and a commitment to putting your needs first. I can't offer you everything Hartwell can offer, but I can offer you something they can't. What's that? Richard asked. Me, I said simply. My full attention, my expertise, my commitment. When you call, you'll talk to me, not to an account manager or a junior consultant. When you have a problem, I'll solve it, not delegate it to someone else. When you need strategic advice, you'll get it from someone who's been doing this for 3 decades, not from someone who learned about business from a textbook. There was a long pause. Then Richard said, "Send me a proposal. I want to see your rates, your terms, and your approach. I'll compare it to what Hartwell is offering for the renewal, and then I'll make a decision based on what's best for Meridian, not based on loyalty to a company that clearly doesn't value loyalty. I'll have it to you by tomorrow," I said. "Richard, I appreciate your trust. You've earned it," he said. "Over 12 years you've earned it. Don't thank me yet. Thank me after you see my proposal and decide whether it makes sense for your business." I spent that evening crafting the proposal. I knew exactly what Meridian needed because I'd been working with them for 12 years. I knew their pain points, their challenges, their goals. I knew what kept Richard awake at night and what would make his board of directors happy. My proposal was half the length of what Hartwell would send. No buzzwords, no fluff, no promises about innovative digital solutions or cutting-edge methodologies. Just a clear description of what I would do, how I would do it, and what results they could expect. And my rate was 20% less than what Hartwell charged. Not because I was desperate, but because I didn't have Hartwell's overhead. I didn't have a fancy office and a large staff and layers of management. I had me, my expertise, and my commitment. That was enough. I sent the proposal to Richard at 9 a.m. the next morning. He called me back at 2 p.m. "We're in," he said. "I'm not renewing with Hartwell. I'm hiring Mitchell Consulting Group. When can you start?" I felt a surge of satisfaction, of vindication, of pure joy. But I kept my voice professional. "I can start as soon as you terminate your contract with Hartwell," I said. "I want to make sure everything is done properly, legally, ethically. I'm not trying to steal you away. I'm just offering you a choice." "I understand," Richard said. "I'll notify Hartwell today that we're not renewing. Our contract ends in 30 days. Can you start on day 31? "I'll be ready," I said. "Richard, you won't regret this." "I know I won't," he said, "because I'm not taking a chance on someone new. I'm continuing to work with someone I've trusted for 12 years. The only thing that's changing is the name on the invoice." That afternoon, Patricia Kowalski from Apex Manufacturing called. "I heard Richard Chen is moving to your firm," she said without preamble. Patricia had never been one for small talk. "News travels fast," I said. "He made a business decision based on what's best for his company," I said. "I respect that. I'm making the same decision," Patricia said. "Kyle Henderson is a disaster. He's been here 4 weeks and he's already alienated half my operations team with his suggestions about how we should optimize our workflows and leverage digital tools. He doesn't understand manufacturing. He doesn't understand our culture. He doesn't understand that you can't fix 30 years of operational complexity with a PowerPoint presentation." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. "He's young. He'll learn." "Not on my dime," Patricia said, echoing Richard's words. "Our contract with Hartwell is up for renewal in 45 days. I'm not renewing. I want to hire you. Same terms as before, or better if you can offer them." "I can offer you better terms," I said. 20% less than Hartwell's rate, more direct access, more personalized service." "Send me a proposal," Patricia said. I'll review it with my team and get back to you within 48 hours. But Michael, I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't really a negotiation. You've been managing our account for 8 years. You've saved us millions of dollars. You've solved problems that nobody else could solve. As far as I'm concerned, you are the service we're buying. The company name on the invoice is irrelevant. 2 clients, $27 million in annual revenue. And I hadn't solicited either of them. They'd come to me. They'd made the choice. They'd decided that experience and relationships mattered more than company names and digital strategies. That evening, Susan and I celebrated with a bottle of wine we'd been saving for a special occasion. 2 clients, she said, raising her glass. $27 million in revenue. Not bad for 2 weeks of work. It's not done yet, I cautioned. The contracts aren't signed. Hartwell could try to fight it. There could be legal challenges, but it's a start. It's more than a start, Susan said. It's proof that you were right. They thought they could replace you with a kid who costs half as much. They thought clients would stay because of the company name. They were wrong. I thought about Kyle Henderson, 25 years old, probably sitting in my old office right now, probably starting to realize that managing major client relationships was harder than it looked in business school. I didn't hate him. He was just a kid trying to make his way in the world. But he'd been set up to fail. Jennifer Martinez and the leadership at Hartwell had given him responsibility he wasn't ready for, clients he didn't understand, and expectations he couldn't meet. They'd sacrificed him on the altar of cost savings and digital transformation. The next morning, James Morrison from Cornerstone Financial called. "I need to talk to you," he said. His voice was tight, controlled, the voice of a CFO who'd just discovered a major problem. "Of course," I said. "What's going on?" "Kyle Henderson just sent me a risk assessment for our Q4 portfolio," James said. "It's garbage. Complete garbage. He's identified risks that don't exist and missed risks that could cost us millions. He's recommended strategies that would violate our fiduciary responsibilities. Michael, if I followed his advice, I'd be fired and possibly prosecuted." I felt a mix of emotions. Satisfaction that I'd been right about Kyle's lack of experience. Concern for Cornerstone Financial, a client I'd worked with for 15 years, and anger at Hartwell for putting both Kyle and the client in this position. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. "Have you talked to Jennifer Martinez about it?" "I tried," James said. "She told me that Kyle is implementing innovative approaches to risk management and that I should trust the process. Michael, I'm a CFO. I don't trust processes. I trust results. And Kyle Henderson doesn't have the experience to deliver results in our industry. Our contract with Hartwell is up for renewal in 60 days, James continued. "I'm not renewing. I want to hire you. I need someone who understands financial services, who understands regulatory compliance, who understands that risk management isn't about innovation, it's about experience and judgment. I can help you," I said. "But James, I need to be clear about something. I'm not trying to steal Hartwell's clients. I'm not soliciting anyone. If you choose to hire me, it has to be your decision made freely, based on what's best for Cornerstone Financial. It is my decision," James said firmly, "and it's the right decision. Send me a proposal. I'll have my legal team review it. But unless you're asking for something completely unreasonable, we're moving forward. 3 clients, $37 million in annual revenue, 40% of Hartwell & Associates' total income, and I hadn't solicited any of them. They'd all come to me. They'd all made independent decisions based on their business needs. They'd all chosen experience over youth, relationships over cost savings, results over innovation. I spent the next week finalizing proposals, negotiating terms, and setting up the operational infrastructure to handle 3 major clients. I hired 2 junior consultants, both in their 40s, both with significant industry experience. I wasn't going to make Hartwell's mistake of thinking that youth and enthusiasm could replace experience and judgment. I set up project management systems, communication protocols, and quality control processes. I wanted to make sure that when these clients came on board, they'd get the same level of service they'd received from me at Hartwell, or better, and I waited for the other shoe to drop. It came in the form of a phone call from Jennifer Martinez. "Michael," she said, her voice cold and professional. "We need to talk. I've been hearing some concerning things." "What kind of things?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "I've heard that you've been contacting our clients," she said, "soliciting them, trying to steal them away from Hartwell. That's a violation of your non-compete agreement." That's also not true, I said calmly. I haven't contacted anyone. I haven't solicited anyone. I started a consulting firm and I made that information publicly available on LinkedIn. If clients have chosen to reach out to me, that's their decision, not my solicitation. That's semantics, Jennifer said. You're trying to steal our clients. I'm offering clients a choice, I corrected. There's a difference. And Jennifer, let me ask you something. Why are they calling me? Why are 3 of your biggest clients choosing to leave Hartwell and work with me instead? Maybe it's because they value experience. Maybe it's because they've built relationships with me over years or decades. Maybe it's because Kyle Henderson, as smart and enthusiastic as he is, doesn't have the expertise to manage complex client relationships. We're going to sue you, Jennifer said, for breach of contract, for tortious interference, for whatever our lawyers can come up with. We're going to tie you up in court for years. We're going to make sure you can't work in this industry again. Go ahead, I said, and I meant it. Sue me. Take me to court. Let a judge review my non-compete agreement from 1993 and decide whether it's enforceable. Let's have a public conversation about whether Hartwell and Associates values client relationships or just wants to lock in revenue regardless of service quality. Let's see how your other clients react when they hear that you're suing me for the crime of being good at my job. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. You're making a mistake, Jennifer finally said. You're burning bridges. You're destroying your reputation. I'm building a business, I replied, based on relationships I've developed over 32 years, based on expertise I've earned through decades of experience, based on results I've delivered consistently. If that destroys my reputation, then I don't want the reputation I had. Jennifer hung up without another word. I sat there for a moment, feeling the weight of what I'd just done. I'd essentially declared war on my former employer. I'd taken their 3 biggest clients. I'd challenged them to sue me. I'd bet everything on the belief that experience and relationships mattered more than company names and cost savings. Susan came into my office. I heard, she said. You okay? I'm great, I said. And I meant it. For the first time in months, I felt like I was in control of my own destiny. I wasn't waiting for someone else to decide my value. I wasn't hoping that loyalty and hard work would be rewarded. I was building something on my own terms based on my own expertise, with clients who valued what I brought to the table. The next morning, I got an email from Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies. Michael, it said, I just got a call from Jennifer Martinez at Hartwell. She told me that you're in breach of your non-compete agreement and that I should reconsider working with you. She said there could be legal complications. She said Hartwell is prepared to offer us a significant discount to stay with them. I thought you should know. I called Richard immediately. I appreciate you telling me, I said, and I want to be completely transparent with you. Hartwell might sue me. They might claim I violated my non-compete agreement. If that happens, it could be messy. It could be public. It could be a distraction. If you want to stay with Hartwell to avoid that complication, I understand. There was a pause. Then Richard laughed. Michael, he said, I've been in business for 30 years. I've dealt with lawsuits, with competitors, with all kinds of complications. You know what I haven't dealt with? A consultant who puts my interests first. A consultant who tells me the truth even when it's uncomfortable. A consultant who has the experience and judgment to help me make good decisions. Hartwell can offer me a discount. They can offer me all the digital innovation they want, but they can't offer me you. And you're what I need. So no, I'm not reconsidering. I'm moving forward with Mitchell Consulting Group. And if Hartwell wants to sue you, let them. I'll testify on your behalf if it comes to that. I felt a wave of gratitude and relief. Thank you, Richard, I said. You won't regret this, I know I won't, he said. Because I'm not taking a risk. I'm making a smart business decision. That's what good CFOs do. Over the next 2 weeks, I received similar emails from Patricia Kowalski and James Morrison. Both had been contacted by Jennifer Martinez. Both had been offered discounts and incentives to stay with Hartwell. Both had declined. The message was clear. These clients valued the relationship more than the price. They valued experience more than cost savings. They valued results more than promises. 30 days after I left Hartwell and Associates, Meridian Technologies officially terminated their contract and signed with Mitchell Consulting Group. $15 million in annual revenue. My first major client as an independent consultant. 45 days after I left, Apex Manufacturing did the same. $12 million in annual revenue, my second major client. 60 days after I left, Cornerstone Financial followed suit. $10 million in annual revenue, my third major client. $37 million in total annual revenue, 40% of Hartwell and Associates' income. Gone. Not because I stole it, not because I solicited it, but because clients chose experience over youth, relationships over cost savings, and results over innovation. I heard through the grapevine what happened next at Hartwell. Jennifer Martinez was fired. The board of directors blamed her for the loss of 3 major clients. They said she'd made a strategic error in replacing me with Kyle Henderson. They said she'd prioritized cost savings over client relationships. They said she'd damaged the company's reputation and its financial stability. Kyle Henderson was let go too. Not because he'd done anything wrong, but because he no longer had any major clients to manage. He'd been set up to fail, given responsibility he wasn't ready for, and then blamed when it didn't work out. I felt bad for him. He was just a kid trying to make his way in the world. The real villains were the people who thought they could replace decades of experience with enthusiasm and digital buzzwords. Hartwell and Associates tried to sue me. They filed a lawsuit claiming breach of contract, tortious interference, and misappropriation of trade secrets. Their lawyers sent threatening letters. They demanded that I cease operations and return all clients to Hartwell. My lawyer responded with a simple argument. I hadn't breached anything. My non-compete agreement was poorly written, narrowly defined, and probably unenforceable. I hadn't solicited any clients. They'd come to me. I hadn't misappropriated any trade secrets. I'd used my own expertise, my own relationships, and my own judgment. Everything I'd done was legal, ethical, and within my rights. The lawsuit dragged on for 6 months. Depositions, discovery, motions, legal fees that mounted into 6 figures. But I had something Hartwell didn't have. I had clients who were willing to testify on my behalf. Richard Chen, Patricia Kowalski, and James Morrison all gave depositions explaining why they'd chosen to work with me. They explained that their decisions were based on business needs, not on my solicitation. They explained that they valued experience and relationships. They explained that Hartwell's decision to replace me with Kyle Henderson had been a mistake that drove them away. The judge dismissed the lawsuit. He ruled that my non-compete agreement was too narrow and too outdated to be enforceable. He ruled that I hadn't solicited clients. They'd come to me. He ruled that Hartwell had no grounds for their claims. And then he did something unexpected. He awarded me legal fees. He said that Hartwell's lawsuit had been frivolous, filed not to protect legitimate business interests, but to punish a former employee for being successful. He said that Hartwell had wasted the court's time and my resources. He ordered them to pay my legal fees, which totaled over $200,000. I sat in the courtroom, listening to the judge's ruling, feeling a sense of vindication that went beyond money or clients or business success. This was about being right, about proving that experience mattered, about showing that you couldn't just replace decades of expertise with youth and enthusiasm and expect the same results. After the ruling, I walked out of the courthouse into the bright afternoon sun. Susan was waiting for me on the steps. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Like I just won more than a lawsuit," I said. "I won validation. I won proof that what I believed was true. I won the right to build something on my own terms." That evening, I got a call from an unexpected source. "Kyle Henderson." "Mr. Mitchell," he said, his voice nervous. "I hope it's okay that I'm calling. I got your number from LinkedIn. I wanted to talk to you if you have a minute." "Of course, Kyle," I said. "What's on your mind?" "I wanted to apologize," he said, "for taking your job, for thinking I could do what you did, for being part of what happened to you." "You don't need to apologize," I said, and I meant it. "You didn't do anything wrong. You were offered an opportunity and you took it. Anyone would have done the same. But I wasn't ready," Kyle said. "I thought I was. I thought my education and my ideas were enough. But I wasn't ready to manage those relationships. I wasn't ready for the complexity. I wasn't ready for clients who'd been working with you for years and expected the same level of expertise. I failed, and I got you fired in the process." "You didn't get me fired," I corrected. "Hartwell made a business decision. They thought they could save money by replacing me with someone younger and cheaper. They were wrong. But that's not your fault." "What are you doing now?" I asked. "Looking for work," Kyle said. "It's been tough. Hartwell let me go 6 months ago. I've been applying to consulting firms, but nobody wants to hire someone who lost 3 major clients. My resume looks like a disaster. I have a question for you, I said. Do you want to learn how to actually do this job? Not the theory you learned in business school, but the real work of building client relationships and delivering results? Yes, Kyle said immediately. More than anything, I've realized that I don't know what I don't know. I need someone to teach me, someone who's actually done it. I'm hiring, I said. Mitchell Consulting Group is growing. I need junior consultants who are willing to learn, who are humble enough to admit what they don't know, and who are committed to putting clients first. The pay isn't great to start. You'd be making about what you made at Hartwell, but you'd be learning from someone with 32 years of experience. You'd be working directly with major clients, and you'd be building real expertise, not just collecting buzzwords. Are you serious? Kyle asked, his voice filled with disbelief. I'm serious, I said, but I need to be clear about something. This isn't charity. This isn't me being nice. This is me investing in someone who has potential but needs guidance. If you come work for me, you'll work harder than you've ever worked. You'll be challenged. You'll make mistakes and I'll call you on them. But you'll learn. And in 5 or 10 years, you'll have the expertise to do what I do. I'll take it, Kyle said immediately. When can I start? Monday, I said. 9 a.m. Bring a notebook and be ready to listen more than you talk. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell, Kyle said. I won't let you down. See that you don't, I said. And Kyle, one more thing. Call me Michael. Mr. Mitchell makes me feel old. Over the next year, Mitchell Consulting Group grew. I hired 3 more consultants, all experienced professionals in their 40s and 50s who'd been pushed out of other firms for being too old or too expensive. I created a culture that valued experience, that rewarded expertise, that understood that business relationships were built on trust and results, not on digital platforms and innovative strategies. Kyle Henderson turned out to be a good hire. He was humble, hardworking, and willing to learn. He shadowed me on client calls, took detailed notes, asked smart questions, and gradually developed the judgment and expertise that only comes from experience. 2 years after I left Hartwell and Associates, I ran into Jennifer Martinez at an industry conference. She was working for a different firm now, a smaller company, a step down from her VP position at Hartwell. She saw me across the room and hesitated, clearly debating whether to approach. I made the decision for her. I walked over. Jennifer, I said, extending my hand. How are you? She shook my hand, her grip uncertain. I'm fine, she said. Congratulations on your success. I've been following Mitchell Consulting Group. You've done well. Thank you, I said. It's been a good couple of years. There was an awkward pause. Then Jennifer said, I owe you an apology. What you did at Hartwell, building those client relationships, that was valuable. I didn't see it. I thought we could replace you with someone younger and cheaper and get the same results. I was wrong. I appreciate that, I said. And for what it's worth, I don't think you were entirely wrong. Companies do need to control costs. They do need to bring in new talent. They do need to evolve. But they also need to value experience. They need to understand that some things can't be replaced with enthusiasm and digital strategies. They need to balance innovation with expertise. Jennifer nodded. I learned that lesson the hard way, she said. Losing those 3 clients nearly destroyed Hartwell. The board fired me. The company's reputation took a hit. They've spent the last 2 years trying to rebuild what we lost. It's been a struggle. I'm sorry that happened, I said. And I meant it. I didn't want to destroy Hartwell. I just wanted to prove that experience matters. Mission accomplished, Jennifer said with a rueful smile. You proved it. And you built something impressive in the process. We talked for a few more minutes, then parted ways. I watched her walk away, feeling a complex mix of emotions. Satisfaction at being vindicated, sympathy for someone who'd made a mistake and paid for it, and gratitude that I'd had the courage to bet on myself when everyone else had counted me out. 3 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, Mitchell Consulting Group had 15 employees and $50 million in annual revenue. We'd expanded beyond my original 3 clients to include a dozen major accounts. We'd built a reputation for expertise, for results, for valuing experience over buzzwords, and we'd created a culture where age was an asset, not a liability. I was 61 years old. According to Jennifer Martinez's logic, I should have been obsolete, too old, from a different era, unable to adapt to modern business. Instead, I was running a thriving consulting firm, managing major clients and proving every day that experience was power. One afternoon, I got a call from Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies. "Michael," he said, "I have a question for you." "Of course," I said. "What's on your mind?" "We're looking at a major acquisition," Richard said. "A company about twice our size. It's a huge opportunity, but it's also risky, complex, the kind of thing that could transform our business or destroy it. I need someone with experience to help me think through it, someone who's seen this kind of thing before, someone I trust." I smiled. "When do you want to meet?" I asked. "Tomorrow if possible," Richard said. "This is moving fast, and I need to make a decision soon." "I'll be there," I said. "And Richard, thank you for trusting me with this. You've earned that trust," he said, over and over again, for 13 years now. That's not something I take lightly. That evening, I sat in my office looking out at the city lights, thinking about the journey I'd taken, from being fired at 58 to building a successful consulting firm at 61, from being told I was obsolete to proving that experience was irreplaceable, from being replaced by a 25-year-old intern to hiring that same intern and teaching him how to actually do the job. It had been a wild ride, stressful, uncertain, risky, but worth it. Every moment of it. Because I'd proven something important, not just to Hartwell and Associates or to Jennifer Martinez or to the business world in general. I'd proven it to myself. Age is just a number. Experience is power. And when someone tells you you're obsolete, the best response is to prove them wrong. Susan came into my office carrying 2 glasses of wine. "Celebrating something?" I asked. "Celebrating you," she said, handing me a glass. 3 years ago, you were fired. Today you're running a $50 million consulting firm. That's worth celebrating." I took the glass and raised it in a toast. "To being underestimated," I said, "and to proving them wrong." We drank, and I thought about all the people who'd been in my position. Professionals in their 50s and 60s who'd been pushed out of their jobs, told they were too old, replaced by younger and cheaper alternatives. How many of them had the resources to fight back? How many had the confidence to start over? How many had the relationships and expertise to build something new? Not everyone could do what I'd done. Not everyone had the savings to take the risk. Not everyone had the client relationships to build on. Not everyone had a supportive spouse who believed in them. I'd been lucky in a lot of ways, but I'd also been strategic. I'd built relationships over decades, not just transactions. I'd delivered results consistently, not just promises. I'd developed expertise that couldn't be replaced by enthusiasm or digital strategies. And when the moment came, when I was pushed out, I'd had the courage to bet on myself. "That's what I want people to understand," I said to Susan. "It's not just about me. It's about everyone who's been told they're too old, too expensive, too obsolete. It's about proving that experience matters, that relationships matter, that you can't just replace decades of expertise with youth and expect the same results." "You should write a book," Susan said. "Tell your story. Help other people who are in the same situation." "Maybe I will," I said. "But first, I have a business to run, and clients to serve, and a team to mentor." The next morning, I had a meeting with my entire team. 15 consultants ranging in age from 27 to 63. A mix of experience and enthusiasm, of expertise and fresh thinking. The kind of team that Hartwell and Associates could have built if they'd valued both instead of choosing one over the other. "I want to talk about our culture," I said. "About what makes Mitchell Consulting Group different. About why clients choose us over bigger firms with more resources." There was silence as everyone waited for me to continue. "We win because we value experience," I said. "Not just mine, but all of yours. We understand that expertise takes time to develop. That judgment comes from making mistakes and learning from them. That client relationships are built on trust, and trust takes years to earn. But we also value fresh thinking. We hire people like Kyle who bring new perspectives and new ideas. We don't dismiss innovation just because we've been doing things a certain way for decades. We balance experience with openness to change." I looked around the room at the faces watching me. Some young, some old, all committed to doing great work. "That's our competitive advantage," I continued. "We're not the biggest firm, we're not the cheapest firm, but we're the firm that combines experience with innovation, that values relationships over transactions, that puts client needs first, that understands business is about people, not just processes. After the meeting, Kyle Henderson came up to me. "That was a good speech," he said. "Thank you," I replied. "Did you mean it?" he asked. "About valuing both experience and fresh thinking?" I looked at him. This kid who'd replaced me, who'd failed, who'd been humble enough to ask for help, who'd worked hard to learn. "Of course I meant it," I said. "Kyle, 3 years ago you were given a job you weren't ready for. That wasn't your fault. But you could have responded in different ways. You could have blamed others. You could have made excuses. You could have given up. Instead, you admitted you needed to learn. You asked for help. You worked hard. That takes character. And character matters as much as experience." "I appreciate that," Kyle said. "And I want you to know I've learned more in 3 years working for you than I learned in 4 years of business school. Because you don't just tell me what to do. You show me why. You explain the thinking behind the decisions. You help me develop judgment, not just knowledge." "That's the goal," I said. "In 10 years, you'll have the expertise to do what I do. Maybe you'll stay with Mitchell Consulting Group. Maybe you'll start your own firm. Either way, you'll have the skills and the judgment to succeed. And you'll understand that experience isn't about age. It's about learning from every situation, every client, every mistake." That afternoon, I met with Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies to discuss the potential acquisition. We spent 4 hours going through the details, the target company's financials, their operations, their culture, the potential synergies, the risks, the integration challenges. Richard had a team of analysts who'd put together detailed models and projections. They'd identified opportunities and risks. They'd calculated potential returns. It was all very impressive, very thorough, very analytical. But something was bothering me. Something in the numbers didn't quite add up. Something in the story didn't quite make sense. "Richard," I said, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," he said. "Why are they selling?" I asked. "This company is profitable, growing, well managed. Why would the owners want to sell now?" "The analysts say they want to cash out," Richard said. "They've been building the company for 20 years and they want to retire." "That's what they say," I agreed. "But look at the ownership structure. The founders are in their early 50s. That's young for retirement. And look at their recent investments. They've been putting money into R&D, into new facilities, into expansion. Those aren't the actions of people who want to cash out. Those are the actions of people who are building for the future. So why are they really selling?" Richard asked, leaning forward. "I don't know," I admitted, "but I think we need to find out before you commit to this acquisition. Because if there's something they're not telling us, something they're trying to hide, it could turn this opportunity into a disaster." Richard looked at his team of analysts. "Did anyone ask this question?" he asked. "We focused on the financials," one of them said. "The numbers look good. The projections are solid. The synergies are real. But did you ask why they're selling?" Richard pressed. "Not directly," the analyst admitted. "We assumed the stated reason was accurate." "Never assume," I said. "In business, the stated reason is often not the real reason. People sell companies for all kinds of reasons. Financial pressure, partnership disputes, regulatory problems, market changes they see coming that aren't obvious yet. We need to understand the real reason before we move forward." Richard turned to his team. "I want you to dig deeper," he said. "Talk to their employees. Talk to their customers. Talk to their suppliers. Find out what's really going on. And I want it done in the next 2 weeks." After the meeting, Richard pulled me aside. "This is why I work with you," he said. "My analysts are smart. They're thorough. They're good at what they do. But they don't have your experience. They don't have your instinct for when something doesn't add up. They don't ask the questions that come from 30+ years of seeing deals go wrong. That's what experience gives you," I said. "Pattern recognition. The ability to see what's missing, not just what's there. The wisdom to know that the most important information is often what people aren't telling you." 2 weeks later, Richard's team came back with their findings. The target company was being sued by a major customer for breach of contract. The lawsuit hadn't been disclosed in the initial due diligence materials. It was buried in subsidiary filings, hidden in legal language, downplayed as immaterial. But it wasn't immaterial. If the customer won the lawsuit, it could cost the company $50 million. It could destroy their reputation. It could drive away other customers. The acquisition would have been a disaster. Richard called me immediately. "You saved us," he said. If we'd gone through with that acquisition, if we'd paid the price they were asking, we would have inherited a massive liability. We would have been destroyed. I just asked a question, I said. Your team did the work. But you knew to ask the question, Richard said. That's the difference between analysis and wisdom. Analysis tells you what the numbers say. Wisdom tells you what questions to ask. That's why I pay you. That evening, I reflected on what had happened. A team of smart, well-educated analysts had missed something that experience had taught me to look for. Not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't have the pattern recognition that comes from decades of seeing deals, seeing problems, seeing the ways that people hide information. This was what Jennifer Martinez hadn't understood when she fired me. This was what Hartwell and Associates had lost when they replaced me with Kyle Henderson. This was what you couldn't learn in business school or from digital platforms or from innovative strategies. This was experience. This was wisdom. This was the value of having been there before. 4 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I was invited to speak at a business conference. The topic was Building Sustainable Client Relationships in the Digital Age. I almost declined. Public speaking wasn't really my thing. I was more comfortable in one-on-one meetings in conference rooms in the actual work of consulting. But Susan convinced me to accept. Your story matters, she said. People need to hear it. People need to know that experience still has value in a world that worships youth. So I accepted. And I spent 2 weeks preparing a presentation that told my story. Not to brag, not to settle scores, but to make a point about what really matters in business. The conference was held in a large hotel ballroom. 300 people in attendance. Business executives, consultants, entrepreneurs. People from their 20s to their 70s. People at different stages of their careers facing different challenges. I stood at the podium, looking out at the audience, and told my story. I told them about being fired at 58, about being replaced by a 25-year-old intern, about being told I was obsolete, too old from a different era. I told them about starting Mitchell Consulting Group, about my former clients choosing to work with me instead of staying with Hartwell, about building a $50 million consulting firm based on relationships and expertise. I told them about hiring Kyle Henderson, the intern who'd replaced me, and teaching him how to actually do the job, about building a team that valued both experience and fresh thinking. And then I told them what I'd learned. Business is about relationships, I said, not transactions, not digital platforms, not innovative strategies. Relationships, built on trust, earned over time, maintained through consistent delivery of results. You can't replace that with youth. You can't replace that with enthusiasm. You can't replace that with cost savings. Relationships are built by people who show up, who deliver, who solve problems, who put client needs first, and that takes experience. I paused, looking out at the audience. Some were nodding, some were taking notes, some looked skeptical. I'm not saying youth doesn't have value, I continued. I'm not saying innovation doesn't matter. I'm not saying companies shouldn't control costs or bring in fresh thinking. I'm saying that experience matters too. That expertise takes time to develop. That wisdom comes from making mistakes and learning from them. That you can't just replace decades of knowledge with enthusiasm and expect the same results. I told them about the acquisition that Richard Chen had almost made. About how a team of smart analysts had missed a critical issue that experience had taught me to look for. About how asking one question, based on pattern recognition developed over 30 years, had saved a client from a $50 million mistake. That's the value of experience, I said. Not just knowing what to do, but knowing what questions to ask. Not just analyzing what's there, but recognizing what's missing. Not just following processes, but applying judgment. After the presentation, I was surrounded by people wanting to talk. Some were older professionals who'd been pushed out of their jobs and wanted advice on how to fight back. Some were younger professionals who wanted to understand how to build the kind of expertise and relationships I described. And some were business executives who were rethinking their assumptions about age and experience. One woman, probably in her mid-50s, waited until the crowd had cleared. Then she approached me with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "I was fired 6 months ago, replaced by someone half my age. I've been feeling worthless, obsolete, like my career is over. Your story gave me hope. It reminded me that I have value, that my experience matters, that I can build something new." "You can," I told her. "It won't be easy. It will be scary. You'll have moments of doubt. But if you have expertise, if you have relationships, if you have the courage to bet on yourself, you can do it. What's the first step? She asked. Make a list, I said. Write down every client you've ever worked with, every colleague who respects you, every person who's benefited from your expertise. Those are your assets. Those are what you'll build on. Then figure out what value you can offer. What problems can you solve? What expertise do you have that others need? What relationships can you leverage? Don't try to compete with big firms on price or scale. Compete on expertise, on relationships, on the value that only you can provide. She nodded, taking notes on her phone. And don't be afraid, I added. Don't be afraid to reach out to former clients. Don't be afraid to tell people you're available. Don't be afraid to bet on yourself. The worst thing that can happen is you fail. But if you don't try, you've already failed. Thank you, she said again. I mean it. Thank you for telling your story, for showing that it's possible, for giving me hope. That evening, I got an email from Kyle Henderson. I watched your presentation online, he wrote. It was posted on the conference website. I wanted to tell you something. When you hired me 3 years ago, I thought you were doing me a favor. I thought you felt sorry for me. I thought you were being charitable, but I understand now. You weren't doing me a favor. You were investing in me. You saw potential and you were willing to put in the time and effort to develop it. You taught me that experience isn't about age, it's about learning. That expertise isn't about credentials, it's about judgment. That success isn't about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being the most prepared, the most thoughtful, the most committed to delivering results. I'm grateful for that. And I want you to know that I'm committed to living up to the investment you made in me. I'm committed to developing the kind of expertise and judgment that you have. I'm committed to building relationships based on trust and results. I'm committed to being the kind of consultant that clients choose to work with, not because of my age or my credentials, but because of the value I deliver. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Thank you for teaching me what really matters. I read the email twice, feeling a sense of satisfaction that went beyond business success or financial returns. This was about legacy, about passing on knowledge, about helping the next generation develop the expertise and judgment that would serve them throughout their careers. 5 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, Mitchell Consulting Group had 25 employees and $75 million in annual revenue. We'd become one of the most respected consulting firms in our region, known for expertise, for results, for valuing experience. I was 63 years old. By conventional wisdom, I should have been retired. By Jennifer Martinez's logic, I should have been obsolete years ago. Instead, I was running a thriving business, mentoring the next generation and proving every day that experience was an asset, not a liability. One morning, I got a call from an unexpected source, Hartwell & Associates. The new CEO wanted to meet with me. I was curious enough to accept. We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. The new CEO was a woman named Dr. Sarah Edmonds, probably in her early 50s, with a PhD in organizational psychology and a reputation for turning around struggling companies. Mr. Mitchell, she said, extending her hand. Thank you for meeting with me. Call me Michael, I said, shaking her hand. Mr. Mitchell makes me feel old. She smiled. I'll get right to the point, she said. Hartwell & Associates made a mistake 5 years ago. We fired you. We replaced you with someone who wasn't ready. We lost 3 of our biggest clients. We damaged our reputation. We've spent the last 5 years trying to recover. I know, I said. I've been following your progress. We're doing better now, Sarah said. We've rebuilt some of what we lost, but we're not where we should be. And I think part of the reason is that we haven't learned the lesson we should have learned from what happened with you. What lesson is that? I asked. That experience matters, Sarah said. That you can't just replace senior professionals with junior ones and expect the same results. That client relationships are built on trust and expertise, not on cost savings and digital strategies. That business is about people, not just processes. I'm glad you understand that, I said. But why are you telling me? Because I want to fix it, Sarah said. I want to build a culture at Hartwell that values both experience and innovation. That respects senior professionals while also developing junior ones. That understands business is about relationships and results, not just about efficiency and cost control. And I want your help. My help? I asked, surprised. "I want to hire you as a consultant," Sarah said, "not to come back to Hartwell as an employee. I know that ship has sailed, but to help us rebuild our culture, to help us train our junior consultants, to help us understand what we lost when we pushed out experienced professionals like you." I sat back, processing this unexpected request. "You want me to help the company that fired me?" I asked. "I want you to help us learn from our mistakes," Sarah corrected. "I want you to help us become the kind of company that values experience, that respects the knowledge and expertise that takes decades to develop, that understands you can't just replace people with cheaper alternatives and expect the same results." "What's in it for me?" I asked bluntly. "A consulting contract," Sarah said. $50,000 for a 6-month engagement. You'd come in once a week, work with our senior leadership, help us redesign our talent development programs, mentor our junior consultants, and you'd help us rebuild relationships with some of the clients we lost. I thought about it. $50,000 was nice, but it wasn't about the money. Mitchell Consulting Group was doing well. I didn't need Hartwell's business. But there was something appealing about the idea of helping them learn from their mistakes, about preventing other experienced professionals from being pushed out the way I had been, about creating a culture that valued both experience and innovation. Before I tell you my answer, I need to ask you something. Are you still with me? Are you invested in this story? If you are, please take a second right now to hit that like button. It helps more people find this story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever had to decide whether to help someone who wronged you? I want to hear your stories. Now back to Sarah's offer. "I have conditions," I said. "Of course," Sarah replied. "What are they?" "First," I said, "this isn't about me coming back to Hartwell. I'm not interested in being an employee again. I'm a consultant. I have my own firm, my own clients, my own team. This would be one engagement among many." "Understood," Sarah said. "Second," I continued, "I want full transparency. I want access to your talent development programs, your compensation structures, your promotion criteria. I want to understand how you're making decisions about who to hire, who to promote, who to push out. And I want the authority to make recommendations, even if they're uncomfortable." "Agreed," Sarah said. "Third," I said, "I want to work with your junior consultants directly, not just advise from a distance, but actually mentor them. Teach them what I've learned over 30+ years. Help them develop the judgment and expertise that takes time to build." "That's exactly what I want," Sarah said. "And finally," I said, "I want you to commit to changing your culture. Not just paying lip service to valuing experience, but actually doing it. That means reconsidering how you evaluate talent. That means understanding that age is not a proxy for obsolescence. That means creating pathways for experienced professionals to contribute, not just pushing them out to save money." "I'm committed to that," Sarah said. "That's why I'm here. That's why I want your help." I looked at her, trying to gauge her sincerity. She seemed genuine. She seemed like someone who actually understood what had gone wrong and wanted to fix it. "Okay," I said. "I'll do it. 6 months. 1 day a week. $50,000. But Sarah, I need you to understand something. If I come in and find that you're not serious about this, if I find that this is just PR or window dressing, I'll walk away, and I'll be very public about why." "Fair enough," Sarah said, extending her hand. We shook on it. Over the next 6 months, I worked with Hartwell and Associates to rebuild their culture. I reviewed their talent development programs and found exactly what I expected. They were focused on credentials and cost, not on expertise and results. They were promoting people based on potential, not on proven ability. They were pushing out experienced professionals to save money, not because those professionals couldn't contribute. I made recommendations. Some were accepted, some were resisted, some required multiple conversations and presentations to leadership before they were implemented. But slowly, gradually, things started to change. Hartwell created a senior consultant track that allowed experienced professionals to contribute without being pushed into management roles they didn't want. They revised their compensation structures to reward expertise and results, not just years of service. They created mentorship programs that paired junior consultants with senior ones, ensuring that knowledge and judgment were passed down. And they started recruiting experienced professionals who'd been pushed out of other firms, people in their 50s and 60s who had expertise to offer but had been told they were too old. I worked directly with a group of junior consultants, teaching them what I'd learned over 3 decades. Not just technical skills, but judgment. Not just processes, but wisdom. Not just what to do, but why. One of them was a young woman named Maria, probably in her late 20s. Smart and ambitious and eager to learn. She reminded me of Kyle Henderson when I'd first hired him. After one of our sessions, she came up to me. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said. "Of course," I replied. "Why are you helping us?" she asked. "Hartwell fired you. They replaced you with someone half your age. They lost your clients. They sued you. Why would you come back and help them?" "Because it's not about revenge," I said. "It's about making things better. It's about creating a culture that values experience. It's about preventing what happened to me from happening to others. And it's about helping people like you develop the expertise and judgment you'll need to succeed." "But don't you want them to fail?" Maria asked. "Don't you want them to suffer for what they did to you?" "I wanted that for a while," I admitted. "When I was first fired, when I was angry and hurt and feeling betrayed, I wanted Hartwell to fail. I wanted them to realize what they'd lost. I wanted vindication. But you know what? I got vindication. I built a successful consulting firm. I took their 3 biggest clients. I proved that experience matters. I won. Revenge would just be petty at this point." Maria nodded, processing this. "I hope I can be like you someday," she said. "Not just successful, but wise, able to help even people who've wronged me." "You will be," I said, "if you keep learning, if you stay humble, if you remember that expertise takes time to develop, and that there's always more to learn." At the end of the 6-month engagement, Sarah Edmonds asked me to extend for another 6 months. "We're making progress," she said, "but we're not done. The culture change is happening, but it takes time. I'd like you to continue working with us." I agreed. Not because I needed the money, but because I believed in what we were doing. Because I could see the change happening. Because I could see junior consultants learning from senior ones. Because I could see experienced professionals being valued instead of pushed out. 6 years after being fired from Hartwell and Associates, I found myself in a strange position. I was running my own successful consulting firm. I was working as a consultant to the company that had fired me. I was mentoring the next generation of consultants, including some at Hartwell. And I was proving every single day that experience was an asset, not a liability. One afternoon, I got a call from Patricia Kowalski at Apex Manufacturing. "Michael," she said, "I have a problem." "What's going on?" I asked. "We're being acquired," she said, "by a larger manufacturing company. It's a good deal financially, but I'm worried about what happens to our relationship. Will you still be able to work with us after the acquisition?" "That depends on the acquiring company," I said. "Some companies prefer to use their own consultants. Some are open to continuing existing relationships. Have you talked to them about it?" "Not yet," Patricia said. "The deal hasn't closed. But I wanted to give you a heads up, and I wanted to tell you something." "What's that?" I asked. "You've been working with us for 14 years now," Patricia said. 8 years at Hartwell, 6 years with Mitchell Consulting Group. In that time, you've saved us millions of dollars. You've solved problems nobody else could solve. You've been a trusted advisor through multiple crises. And the reason we've stayed with you through the transition from Hartwell to your own firm is because we value the relationship. We value your expertise. We value the fact that when we call, we get you, not some junior consultant who doesn't understand our business." "I appreciate that, Patricia," I said. "It means a lot. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that if the acquiring company tries to replace you, I'll fight for you," Patricia said. "I'll make it a condition of my staying with the company. Because you're not just a consultant to us, you're a partner. You're part of our team. And that's not something we're willing to give up." "Thank you," I said, genuinely moved. "That means more than you know." The acquisition closed 3 months later. The acquiring company did want to use their own consultants. Patricia fought for me, just as she'd promised. She made it clear that my continued involvement was important to her and to Apex's operations team. The acquiring company agreed to let me continue working with Apex, at least for a transition period. It was a small victory, but it reinforced something I'd learned over the years. Relationships matter. Trust matters. Delivering results consistently over time matters. You can't replace that with cost savings or corporate policies or standardized processes. 7 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I started thinking about succession planning. I was 65 years old, not ready to retire, but aware that I needed to start thinking about the future of Mitchell Consulting Group. I called a meeting with my senior team, Kyle Henderson, now 32 years old and one of my most trusted consultants, Maria Santos, the young woman I'd mentored at Hartwell, who'd joined Mitchell Consulting Group 2 years ago, David Park, a 55-year-old consultant I'd hired away from a competitor, and 3 others, all experienced professionals in their 40s and 50s. I want to talk about the future, I said, about what happens to Mitchell Consulting Group when I'm no longer running it. There was an uncomfortable silence. Nobody wanted to think about me leaving, but everyone knew it was a conversation we needed to have. I'm not retiring tomorrow, I continued. I'm not even retiring next year. But I'm 65 years old. At some point, I'm going to want to step back, and I want to make sure this company continues to thrive when that happens. What are you thinking? Kyle asked. I'm thinking about transitioning to an employee-owned model, I said. Over the next 5 years, I'd like to sell my ownership stake to the team. Not all at once, but gradually, so that by the time I'm 70, you all own the company. Why would you do that? Maria asked. You built this company. You could sell it to a larger firm and make a lot of money. I could, I agreed. But that's not what I want. I didn't build Mitchell Consulting Group to make money. I built it to prove that experience matters, to create a culture that values expertise, to provide a place where talented professionals can do great work regardless of their age. If I sell to a larger firm, all of that goes away. They'll change the culture. They'll impose their processes. They'll probably push out the more expensive senior consultants to save money. Everything I built will be destroyed. But if you all own it, if you're invested in maintaining the culture and the values, then it continues. Then what I built outlasts me. The team was quiet, processing this. How would it work? David asked. We'd structure it as a gradual buyout, I said. Each year I'd sell a portion of my ownership to the team. You'd pay for it out of the company's profits. By the time I'm 70, you'd own the company outright. I'd stay on as a consultant, available for advice and mentoring, but you'd be running things. Who would be CEO? Kyle asked. That's up to you all to decide, I said. I have opinions, but this is your company. You need to figure out who's best suited to lead it. Over the next few months, we worked out the details. Lawyers drafted agreements. Accountants structured the buyout. The team decided that Kyle would be CEO, with Maria as COO and David as head of client services. It felt right. Kyle had learned from his mistakes. He'd developed the judgment and expertise that only comes from experience. He understood that business was about relationships and results, not just about digital strategies and cost savings. Maria brought fresh thinking and operational excellence. She understood how to build systems and processes without losing the personal touch that made Mitchell Consulting Group special. David brought decades of client relationship experience. He understood how to build trust, how to deliver results, how to be a partner rather than just a vendor. Together, they'd be able to lead the company into the future while maintaining the culture and values I'd built. 8 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I attended an industry awards ceremony. Mitchell Consulting Group had been nominated for Consulting Firm of the Year. We didn't expect to win. We were competing against much larger firms with bigger names and more resources. But we'd been nominated, which was an honor in itself. The ceremony was held in a large hotel ballroom. Hundreds of people in attendance. Industry leaders, consulting firm executives, clients. I sat at a table with my team, feeling proud of what we'd built together. When they announced the winner, I was genuinely shocked. And the award for Consulting Firm of the Year goes to Mitchell Consulting Group. The room erupted in applause. My team was cheering. Susan was crying. I walked up to the stage in a daze, accepted the award, and stood at the podium looking out at the audience. 8 years ago, I said, I was fired from my job. I was told I was too old, too expensive, too obsolete. I was replaced by someone half my age. I was told that my experience didn't matter, that the future belonged to digital natives who understood modern business better than someone from my generation possibly could. I paused, letting that sink in. I could have accepted that narrative, I continued. I could have believed that I was obsolete. I could have retired quietly and faded away, but I didn't, because I knew something they didn't know. I knew that experience matters, that relationships matter, that expertise takes time to develop and can't be replaced with enthusiasm and digital strategies. So I started my own consulting firm, I built it on relationships I'd developed over decades. I built it on expertise I'd earned through years of solving problems and delivering results. I built it on a culture that valued both experience and innovation, that respected senior professionals while developing junior ones. And today, 8 years later, Mitchell Consulting Group is being recognized as Consulting Firm of the Year, not because we're the biggest, not because we're the cheapest, but because we deliver results, because we build relationships, because we understand that business is about people, not just processes. I looked out at the audience. Some were nodding, some were applauding, some looked thoughtful. If you're a business leader, I said, I want you to think about how you value experience in your organization. Are you pushing out senior professionals to save money? Are you replacing expertise with enthusiasm? Are you prioritizing cost over value? If you are, you're making a mistake. You're losing institutional knowledge. You're damaging client relationships. You're sacrificing long-term success for short-term savings. And if you're a professional who's been told you're too old, I continued, I want you to know something. You're not obsolete. Your experience is valuable. Your expertise matters. And if your current employer doesn't see that, find one who does. Or build something yourself. Because age is just a number. Experience is power. And the best years of your career might still be ahead of you. The applause was thunderous. People stood. Some were cheering. Some were crying. I stood there, holding the award, feeling a sense of accomplishment that went far beyond business success. This was about validation, about proving a point, about showing that experience mattered in a world that worshipped youth. After the ceremony, I was surrounded by people wanting to talk. Business executives asking for advice on how to retain senior talent. Professionals in their 50s and 60s asking how to fight back against age discrimination. Younger professionals asking how to develop the kind of expertise and judgment I'd described. One man, probably in his early 60s, waited until the crowd had cleared. Then he approached me with a firm handshake. I was fired 3 months ago, he said, replaced by someone 30 years younger. I've been feeling worthless. Like my career is over. Like everything I built doesn't matter anymore. Your speech reminded me that I have value, that I can fight back, that I can build something new. You can, I told him. It won't be easy. But if you have expertise, if you have relationships, if you have the courage to bet on yourself, you can do it. How do I start? He asked. The same way I did, I said. Make a list of everyone you've worked with, every client, every colleague, every person who's benefited from your expertise. Those are your assets. Then figure out what value you can offer. What problems can you solve? What expertise do you have that others need? Then reach out, not to solicit, but to inform. Let people know you're available. Let them make the choice and be patient. Building something new takes time, but it's worth it. He nodded, taking notes. Thank you, he said, for telling your story, for showing that it's possible, for giving me hope. That's why I tell it, I said. Not to brag, not to settle scores, but to give hope to people who've been told they're obsolete, to prove that experience matters, to show that you can build something meaningful at any age. 9 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I received an unexpected invitation. The company was celebrating its 50th anniversary, and they wanted me to attend as a guest of honor. I almost declined, but Susan convinced me to go. You've moved past the anger, she said. You've built something successful. You've proven your point. Now you can be gracious. So I accepted. The anniversary celebration was held at the same hotel where I'd received the Consulting Firm of the Year award. Hundreds of people in attendance. Current employees, former employees, clients, partners. I walked in feeling strange. This had been my professional home for 32 years. I'd built relationships here. I'd celebrated victories here. I'd been fired here. Sarah Edmonds, the CEO, greeted me warmly. Michael, she said, I'm so glad you came. Thank you for inviting me, I said. I want you to know something. Sarah said, the work you did with us over the past few years, helping us rebuild our culture, it made a difference. We're a better company now. We value experience. We respect senior professionals. We understand that expertise takes time to develop. I'm glad to hear that, I said. During the dinner, Sarah gave a speech about Hartwell's history. She talked about the founders. She talked about the company's growth. She talked about challenges and successes. And then she talked about mistakes. 9 years ago, she said, Hartwell made a significant mistake. We pushed out experienced professionals to save money. We replaced expertise with enthusiasm. We prioritized cost over value, and we paid a price for that mistake. We lost major clients. We damaged our reputation. We nearly destroyed what had been built over decades. She paused, looking directly at me. One of the people we pushed out was Michael Mitchell. She continued. He'd been with Hartwell for 32 years. He'd built some of our most important client relationships. He'd generated 40% of our revenue. And we fired him. We replaced him with someone half his age and a fraction of his experience. And we lost everything he'd built. The room was silent. Everyone was listening. Michael could have let us fail, Sarah continued. He could have taken satisfaction in our struggles. He could have refused to help when I asked him to consult with us on rebuilding our culture. But he didn't. He came back. He helped us learn from our mistakes. He taught our junior consultants. He showed us how to value experience while also embracing innovation. And because of his generosity, because of his willingness to help even a company that had wronged him, we're a better organization today. She raised her glass. To Michael Mitchell, she said, a man who proved that experience matters. A man who built something remarkable after being told he was obsolete. A man who showed us that the best response to being underestimated is to prove them wrong. The room erupted in applause. People stood. Some were cheering. I felt a complex mix of emotions. Pride, vindication, satisfaction, and something else. Closure. After the dinner, several people approached me. Former colleagues who'd been at Hartwell when I was fired. Clients I'd worked with decades ago. Junior consultants I'd mentored. One of them was Kyle Henderson. He was 33 now, working as a senior consultant at a different firm, building his own career. Michael, he said, I wanted to thank you again for giving me a second chance, for teaching me what really matters, for showing me that business is about relationships and results, not just about credentials and buzzwords. You earned it, I said. You were humble enough to admit you needed to learn. You worked hard. You developed judgment and expertise. That's all I asked. I'm starting my own consulting firm, Kyle said, following your example, building something based on relationships and expertise. I wanted you to know, and I wanted to ask if you'd be willing to be an advisor, to help me avoid the mistakes you had to learn from. I'd be honored, I said. That evening, driving home with Susan, I reflected on the journey, from being fired at 58 to being honored at 66, from being told I was obsolete to winning Consulting Firm of the Year, from being replaced by a 25-year-old intern to mentoring that same intern and watching him start his own firm. It had been a wild ride, stressful, uncertain, risky, but worth it. Every moment of it. You did it, Susan said. You proved them wrong. You built something remarkable. You showed that experience matters. I did, I agreed. But it's not just about me. It's about everyone who's been told they're too old, everyone who's been pushed out, everyone who's been made to feel obsolete. I proved it's possible to fight back, to build something new, to show that your best years don't have to be behind you. 10 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I officially transitioned to a consulting role at Mitchell Consulting Group. Kyle was now CEO. Maria was COO. David was head of client services. The team owned the company. I was just an advisor, available for guidance and mentoring, but no longer running day-to-day operations. It felt right. I'd built something that would outlast me. I'd created a culture that valued experience and innovation. I'd mentored the next generation. I'd proven my point. Now it was time to step back and let others lead. But I wasn't retiring. I was 68 years old and I still had work to do. I took on a few select consulting clients. I spoke at conferences about age discrimination and the value of experience. I mentored professionals who'd been pushed out of their jobs and wanted to build something new. And I spent time with Susan, traveling, enjoying life, celebrating the fact that we'd taken a risk and it had paid off. One afternoon, I got a call from Richard Chen at Meridian Technologies. Michael, he said, I have news. What's going on? I asked. I'm retiring, Richard said. After 35 years, I'm stepping down as CEO. Congratulations, I said. You've earned it. I wanted to tell you personally, Richard said, and I wanted to thank you. For 15 years, you've been more than a consultant. You've been a trusted advisor, a partner, a friend. You've helped me make good decisions. You've saved me from bad ones. You've been there through crises and celebrations. And I want you to know that a significant part of my success is because of you. I appreciate that, Richard, I said, genuinely moved. It's been an honor to work with you. The new CEO wants to continue working with Mitchell Consulting Group, Richard said. I've told her about you, about your expertise, about the value you've provided over the years. She's excited to build that relationship. I'm glad to hear it, I said. But Richard, I should tell you, I'm not running Mitchell Consulting Group anymore. I've transitioned to an advisory role. Kyle Henderson is CEO now. I know, Richard said. You've mentioned him over the years. The kid who replaced you, who you hired and mentored. That's a hell of a story. It is, I agreed. And he's ready. He's developed the expertise and judgment to do what I did. He'll take good care of you. I'm sure he will, Richard said. But Michael, I want you to know something. The reason I stayed with you when you left Hartwell wasn't because of the company name. It was because of you, your expertise, your judgment, your commitment. And that hasn't changed just because you're not CEO anymore. I'll still want your advice. I'll still want your perspective. I'll still value your experience. I'll be here, I said, as long as you need me. That evening, I sat in my home office, the same office where I'd plotted my comeback 10 years ago, the same desk where I'd made the list of clients who might follow me, the same chair where I'd decided to bet on myself. I thought about everything that had happened, being fired at 58, starting Mitchell Consulting Group, taking Hartwell's 3 biggest clients, building a $75 million consulting firm, winning Consulting Firm of the Year, helping Hartwell rebuild their culture, mentoring the next generation, transitioning ownership to my team. It had been an incredible journey, and it had all started with one decision. The decision not to accept someone else's definition of my worth. The decision to bet on myself. The decision to prove that experience mattered. Susan came into my office carrying 2 glasses of wine. Celebrating something, I asked. Celebrating you, she said. 10 years ago, you were fired. Today, you're a respected consultant, a mentor, a success story. That's worth celebrating. I took the glass and raised it in a toast. To being underestimated, I said, and to proving them wrong. We drank, and I thought about all the people who'd been in my position, professionals in their 50s and 60s who'd been pushed out, told they were obsolete, replaced by younger alternatives. Some had fought back. Some had built new careers. Some had proven their worth, but many hadn't. Many had accepted the narrative that they were too old. Many had retired quietly, feeling worthless and obsolete. Many had never realized that their experience was valuable, that their expertise mattered, that they could build something new. That's what I want people to understand, I said to Susan. It's not just about me. It's about everyone who's been told they're too old. It's about proving that experience is power. It's about showing that you can build something meaningful at any age. You've done that, Susan said. You've told your story. You've inspired others. You've proven your point. Now what? I asked. Now you enjoy it, Susan said. You've earned it. 11 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was invited to give a TED Talk. The topic was, The Power of Experience in an Age That Worships Youth. I spent weeks preparing, crafting a presentation that told my story, but also made a larger point about how society values age and experience. The talk was recorded in front of a live audience. 18 minutes. One chance to make my point. I stood on the red circle, looking out at the audience, and told my story. I told them about being fired at 58, about being replaced by a 25-year-old intern, about being told I was obsolete. I told them about starting Mitchell Consulting Group, about taking my former employer's 3 biggest clients, about building a successful consulting firm based on relationships and expertise. I told them about mentoring Kyle Henderson, the intern who'd replaced me, about helping Hartwell rebuild their culture, about proving that experience mattered. And then I made my larger point. We live in a society that worships youth, I said. We celebrate young entrepreneurs who disrupt industries. We admire digital natives who understand technology intuitively. We value fresh thinking and innovation and new perspectives. And all of that is good. Youth has value. Innovation matters. Fresh thinking is important. But we've gone too far. We've started to believe that youth is always better than experience. That innovation is always better than expertise. That fresh thinking is always better than wisdom. And that's wrong. I paused, letting that sink in. Experience matters, I continued. Expertise takes time to develop. Wisdom comes from making mistakes and learning from them. Judgment comes from seeing patterns across decades. And you can't replace that with enthusiasm or digital strategies or innovative thinking. You need both. You need the energy and fresh thinking of youth. And you need the expertise and wisdom of experience. The best organizations, the best teams, the best outcomes come from combining both, not choosing one over the other. That's the value of experience, I said. Not just knowing what to do, but knowing what questions to ask. Not just analyzing what's there, but recognizing what's missing. Not just following processes, but applying judgment. And we're losing that. We're pushing out experienced professionals to save money. We're replacing expertise with enthusiasm. We're prioritizing cost over value. And we're paying a price for it. I looked out at the audience. Some were nodding. Some looked uncomfortable. Some looked thoughtful. If you're a business leader, I said, I want you to think about how you value experience in your organization. Are you creating pathways for experienced professionals to contribute? Are you mentoring junior employees by pairing them with senior ones? Are you recognizing that expertise takes time to develop? Or are you pushing out senior professionals to save money? Are you replacing experience with enthusiasm? Are you assuming that youth is always better? If you are, you're making a mistake. You're losing institutional knowledge. You're damaging relationships. You're sacrificing long-term success for short-term savings. And if you're a professional who's been told you're too old, I continued, I want you to know something. You're not obsolete. Your experience is valuable. Your expertise matters. Your wisdom is needed. Don't accept someone else's definition of your worth. Don't believe the narrative that your best years are behind you. Don't go quietly into retirement if you still have work to do. Fight back. Build something new. Prove them wrong. Because age is just a number. Experience is power. And the best years of your career might still be ahead of you. The talk ended with a standing ovation. People were cheering. Some were crying. I stood there, feeling a sense of accomplishment that went beyond personal success. This was about changing the conversation, about challenging assumptions, about proving that experience mattered in a world that worshipped youth. The TED Talk went viral. Within a week, it had been viewed over 1 million times. Within a month, over 5 million. People shared it on social media. Business publications wrote articles about it. I was invited to speak at conferences, on podcasts, on news programs. The message resonated because it was true. Because millions of people had experienced age discrimination. Because countless professionals had been pushed out and told they were obsolete. Because society needed to hear that experience mattered. I started getting emails from people all over the world. Professionals in their 50s and 60s who'd been fired and wanted advice. Business leaders who wanted to change their culture. Young professionals who wanted to learn from experienced mentors. Each email was a reminder that the work I was doing mattered, that telling my story had impact, that proving experience had value was changing lives. Experience matters, building success after being told you're obsolete. It told my story in detail. It provided practical advice for professionals who'd been pushed out. It offered guidance for business leaders who wanted to value experience. And it made a larger argument about how society should think about age and expertise. The book became a bestseller, not because of marketing or publicity, but because the message resonated, because people needed to hear it, because the conversation about age and experience was changing. I went on a book tour, speaking at bookstores and conferences and corporate events. At every stop, I met people who'd been told they were too old, people who'd been pushed out, people who'd been made to feel obsolete, and I told them the same thing every time. You have value. Your experience matters. Your expertise is needed. Don't accept someone else's definition of your worth. Build something new. Prove them wrong. At one event, a woman in her early 60s approached me with tears in her eyes. I was fired 8 months ago, she said, replaced by someone half my age. I've been feeling worthless, like my career is over, like everything I built doesn't matter. Your book gave me hope. It reminded me that I have value, that I can fight back, that I can build something new. I started my own consulting practice 3 months ago. I have 2 clients already, former colleagues who value my expertise, and I'm building something based on relationships and results just like you did. That's wonderful, I said. How does it feel? Scary, she admitted, but also empowering. For the first time in months, I feel like I'm in control of my own destiny. I'm not waiting for someone else to value me. I'm building something based on my own expertise. That's exactly right, I said. You're not obsolete. You're experienced. And that's valuable. Stories like that made everything worthwhile. The stress, the risk, the uncertainty, the years of building something new. It was all worth it because it had inspired others to do the same. 13 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 71 years old. By conventional wisdom, I should have been long retired. By Jennifer Martinez's logic, I should have been obsolete over a decade ago. Instead, I was still consulting, still mentoring, still speaking, still proving that experience mattered. Mitchell Consulting Group, now fully owned and operated by my former team, had grown to $100 million in annual revenue. They'd expanded into new markets. They'd hired more experienced professionals. They'd built on the culture I'd created. Kyle Henderson, now 38 years old, was a successful CEO. He'd learned from his early mistakes. He'd developed the expertise and judgment that only comes from experience. He'd built something meaningful, and he'd done it by valuing both innovation and experience, both fresh thinking and wisdom. One afternoon, Kyle called me. "Michael," he said, "I have a question for you." "What's on your mind?" I asked. "How do you know when it's time to step back?" he asked. "When it's time to let the next generation lead? When it's time to transition from doing to mentoring?" I thought about that. It was a good question, an important question. "You know it's time when you're more excited about helping others succeed than about succeeding yourself," I said. "When you get more satisfaction from mentoring than from doing. When you realize that your legacy isn't what you accomplish, but what you enable others to accomplish." But the most satisfying part wasn't the business success. It was watching you and Maria and David develop into leaders. It was seeing the culture I'd built continue without me. It was knowing that what I'd created would outlast me. "I think I'm getting there," Kyle said. "I'm starting to think more about developing the next generation than about my own success. I'm starting to see my role as enabling others rather than doing everything myself." "That's good," I said. "That's growth. That's wisdom. But Kyle, don't rush it. You're 38. You have decades of leadership ahead of you. The key is to balance doing and mentoring, to keep developing your own expertise while also helping others develop theirs." "Thank you," Kyle said, "for everything, for giving me a second chance, for teaching me what really matters, for showing me that business is about relationships and results, for building something I could be part of. You earned it," I said. "You were humble enough to learn. You worked hard. You developed judgment. That's all I asked." 14 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I received an unexpected honor. The industry association was giving me a Lifetime Achievement Award for contributions to the consulting profession. The ceremony was held at the same hotel where I'd received Consulting Firm of the Year 6 years earlier. Hundreds of people in attendance. Industry leaders, consulting firm executives, clients, colleagues. I sat at a table with Susan, with Kyle and Maria and David from Mitchell Consulting Group, with Richard Chen and Patricia Kowalski and James Morrison, the 3 clients who'd followed me from Hartwell. When they announced my name, I walked to the stage feeling a sense of gratitude and accomplishment. The presenter read a summary of my career. 32 years at Hartwell & Associates. Building major client relationships, generating hundreds of millions in revenue, being fired at 58, starting Mitchell Consulting Group, building a successful firm based on experience and relationships, mentoring the next generation, changing the conversation about age and experience in business. I stood at the podium, looking out at the audience, and thought about what to say. 14 years ago, I began. I was fired from my job. I was told I was too old, too expensive, too obsolete. I was replaced by a 25-year-old intern who cost half what I did and had a fraction of my experience. I could have accepted that. I could have believed I was obsolete. I could have retired quietly and faded away. But I didn't, because I knew something they didn't know. I knew that experience matters, that relationships matter, that expertise takes decades to develop and can't be replaced with enthusiasm and digital strategies. So I started my own consulting firm. I took my former employer's 3 biggest clients, not by stealing them, but by offering them a choice. And they chose experience over cost savings. They chose relationships over corporate efficiency. They chose results over promises. I paused, looking out at the audience. Over the past 14 years, I've built a successful consulting firm. I've mentored the next generation. I've changed the conversation about age and experience in business. I've proven that your best years don't have to be behind you. If you're a business leader, I said, I want you to think about how you value experience in your organization. Are you creating pathways for experienced professionals to contribute? Are you recognizing that expertise takes time to develop? Are you balancing cost savings with value creation? Or are you pushing out senior professionals to save money? Are you replacing experience with enthusiasm? Are you assuming that youth is always better? If you are, you're making a mistake. You're losing institutional knowledge. You're damaging relationships. You're sacrificing long-term success for short-term savings. And you're missing out on the wisdom and judgment that only comes from decades of experience. I turned to the professionals in the audience. And if you're a professional who's been told you're too old, I said, I want you to know something. You're not obsolete. Your experience is valuable. Your expertise matters. Your wisdom is needed. Don't accept someone else's definition of your worth. Don't believe the narrative that your best years are behind you. Don't go quietly if you still have work to do. Fight back. Build something new. Prove them wrong. Because age is just a number. Experience is power. And the best years of your career might still be ahead of you. The applause was thunderous. People stood. Some were cheering. Some were crying. I stood there holding the award, feeling a sense of completion. I'd come full circle. From being fired to being honored. From being told I was obsolete to receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. From being underestimated to proving them wrong. After the ceremony, I was surrounded by people wanting to talk. Business executives asking for advice. Professionals asking how to fight back against age discrimination. Young professionals asking how to develop expertise and wisdom. One young man, probably in his late 20s, waited until the crowd had cleared. Mr. Mitchell, he said, I'm 27 years old. I'm at the beginning of my career. What advice would you give me? I thought about that. What would I tell my younger self? What had I learned over 40+ years in business? Build relationships, I said. Not just transactions. Not just networking. Real relationships based on trust and mutual respect. Deliver results consistently. Not just once, but over and over again. Build a reputation for reliability and excellence. Keep learning. Don't assume you know everything. Stay curious. Stay humble. Recognize that expertise takes decades to develop. Value experience. Learn from people who've been there before. Seek out mentors. Listen to their wisdom. Understand that what they know took years to learn. And be patient. Success takes time. Expertise takes time. Wisdom takes time. Don't be in such a hurry to get to the top that you skip the learning that happens along the way. The young man nodded, taking notes. Thank you, he said. That's helpful. One more thing, I added. When you get older, when you have decades of experience, don't let anyone tell you you're obsolete. Don't accept someone else's definition of your worth. Remember that your experience is valuable, that your expertise matters, that your wisdom is needed. 15 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 73 years old. I'd officially retired from active consulting, though I still advised a few select clients and mentored professionals who sought my guidance. Susan and I spent our time traveling, enjoying our grandchildren and reflecting on the journey we'd taken. One afternoon, I got a call from Sarah Edmonds, the CEO of Hartwell & Associates. Michael, she said, I have something to tell you. What's going on? I asked. Hartwell is being acquired, she said, by a larger consulting firm. It's a good deal. The employees will be taken care of. The culture we've built will be preserved. But it's the end of an era. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, though I suppose all things come to an end eventually. I wanted to thank you, Sarah said, for helping us rebuild after we made such a terrible mistake, for teaching us to value experience, for showing us that business is about relationships and results, not just about cost savings and efficiency. You're welcome, I said. I'm glad I could help. And Michael, Sarah continued, I want you to know something. The work you did with us, the culture change you helped create, it made a real difference. We became a better company. We treated people better. We valued experience. And that's part of why this acquisition is happening on good terms, because we built something valuable. That means a lot, I said. Thank you for telling me. After the call, I sat in my home office thinking about Hartwell & Associates. The company where I'd spent 32 years. The company that had fired me. The company I'd helped rebuild. It was strange to think that it would no longer exist as an independent entity. But that's how business works. Companies are bought and sold. Cultures change. People move on. What matters is the impact you have while you're there. The relationships you build. The people you mentor. The values you instill. Those things outlast any company. That evening, Susan and I sat on our back porch, watching the sunset. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "Everything," I said. "The journey we've taken, the risks we took, the success we built, the people we helped." "It's been quite a ride," Susan said. "Do you have any regrets?" I thought about that. Did I regret anything? "I regret that it took being fired to push me to start my own firm," I said. "I wish I'd had the courage to do it earlier. But I don't regret how things turned out. I proved that experience matters. I built something meaningful. I mentored the next generation. I changed the conversation about age in the workplace, and I did it all with you by my side." Susan smiled. "We did it together," she said. "You took the risk. You built the business. But I was there supporting you, believing in you, reminding you of your worth when you doubted yourself. I couldn't have done it without you," I said. And I meant it. Starting a business at 58, risking everything we'd saved, betting on myself when everyone else had counted me out. I couldn't have done any of that without Susan's support and belief. 16 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I received a letter from Kyle Henderson. He was 41 now, still CEO of Mitchell Consulting Group, still building on what I'd started. "Thank you for being patient with me when I made mistakes. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. 16 years ago, I was a 25-year-old kid who thought he knew everything. I'd been given a job I wasn't ready for. I'd been set up to fail. And when I did fail, when I lost your clients and got fired, I thought my career was over. But you gave me another chance. You hired me. You mentored me. You taught me. And you showed me that failure isn't the end. It's just part of the learning process." Today, Mitchell Consulting Group has $150 million in annual revenue. We have 75 employees. We work with some of the most prestigious clients in our industry, and it's all built on the foundation you created, the culture you established, the values you instilled. But more than that, I've become the kind of consultant you were. I build relationships. I deliver results. I value experience while embracing innovation. I mentor the next generation. And I understand that business is about people, not just processes. I couldn't have done any of that without you. You changed my life. You showed me what it means to be a professional. You taught me that success isn't about credentials or age or cost savings. It's about delivering value, building trust, solving problems, being there for clients when they need you. So thank you for everything, for believing in me, for teaching me, for showing me what really matters. I hope I've made you proud. With gratitude and respect, Kyle. I read the letter 3 times, feeling a sense of satisfaction that went beyond business success or financial returns. This was about legacy, about impact, about making a difference in someone's life. Kyle had made me proud. He'd learned from his mistakes. He'd developed expertise and judgment. He'd built something meaningful. And he'd done it by embracing the values I'd taught him. That was worth more than any award or recognition or business success. That was the real measure of a life well lived. 17 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I was 75 years old. I'd been fully retired for 2 years, though I still occasionally advised former clients and mentored professionals who sought my guidance. One morning, I received an email from Maria Santos, now COO of Mitchell Consulting Group. "Michael," she wrote, "I wanted to share some news with you. Mitchell Consulting Group has been named Consulting Firm of the Year. Again, just like when you won it 14 years ago. I wanted you to know because this award is as much yours as it is ours. You built the foundation. You created the culture. You established the values. We're just continuing what you started. Thank you for everything you taught us. Thank you for showing us what really matters. Thank you for building something that's outlasted you and will continue to impact people for years to come." I read the email with a sense of deep satisfaction. Mitchell Consulting Group was thriving. The culture I'd built was continuing. The values I'd instilled were being maintained. What I'd created was outlasting me. That was the ultimate success. Not building something that depended on me, but building something that could thrive without me. Not being irreplaceable, but creating a culture and values that were. From being replaced by a 25-year-old intern to mentoring that same intern and watching him become a successful CEO. It had been an incredible journey, full of risk and uncertainty and stress, but also full of satisfaction and accomplishment and meaning. I'd proven something important, not just to Hartwell and Associates or to Jennifer Martinez or to the business world in general. I'd proven it to myself. Age is just a number. Experience is power. And when someone tells you you're obsolete, the best response is to prove them wrong. As I walked, a young woman jogged past me. She was probably in her late 20s, wearing running gear, earbuds in, focused on her workout. She didn't even glance at me. To her, I was just an old man taking a walk, invisible, irrelevant, and that was okay. Because I knew something she didn't know yet. I knew that age brings wisdom, that experience has value, that the years ahead of her would teach her things she couldn't learn any other way. And I knew that someday she'd be in her 50s or 60s, and someone would tell her she was too old. And I hoped that when that happened, she'd remember that age is just a number, that experience is power, that she could fight back and build something new and prove them wrong. 18 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I was 76 years old. Susan and I were sitting on our back porch enjoying the evening when she asked me a question. If you could go back and change anything, what would it be? I thought about that. It was a good question, a deep question. I wouldn't change being fired, I said, because as painful as it was, it pushed me to do something I might never have done otherwise. It forced me to bet on myself. It gave me the opportunity to prove that experience matters. Would you have started your own firm if you hadn't been fired? Susan asked. Probably not, I admitted. I was comfortable at Hartwell. I had a good salary. I had security. I probably would have stayed until I retired at 65 or 70. I would have been fine. But I wouldn't have built Mitchell Consulting Group. I wouldn't have proven my point. I wouldn't have changed the conversation about age and experience. So in a strange way, being fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. Susan smiled. That's a very mature perspective, she said. It took me a while to get there, I admitted. For the first few months, I was angry, hurt, bitter. I wanted revenge. But eventually I realized that the best revenge was success. The best response to being underestimated was to prove them wrong. And that's what I did. That's what you did, Susan agreed. And you helped a lot of people along the way. That's the part I'm most proud of, I said. Not the business success, not the awards, not the recognition, but the people I helped, the professionals I mentored, the conversation I changed, the proof that experience matters. That's what makes it all worthwhile. They wanted me to talk to MBA students about entrepreneurship, about building a business later in life, about the value of experience. I almost declined. I was 77 years old. I'd been retired for years. I wasn't sure I had anything relevant to say to 25-year-old business students, but Susan convinced me to accept. Your story is exactly what they need to hear, she said. They're being taught that youth is an advantage, that innovation is everything, that experience is obsolete. They need to hear a different perspective. So I accepted. The class had about 60 students, all in their mid-20s, all eager and ambitious and convinced they were going to change the world. I stood at the front of the classroom, looking at their young faces, and told my story. I told them about being fired at 58, about being replaced by someone their age, about being told I was obsolete. I told them about starting Mitchell Consulting Group, about taking my former employer's biggest clients, about building a successful firm based on relationships and expertise. I told them about mentoring Kyle Henderson, about helping Hartwell rebuild their culture, about proving that experience mattered. And then I told them what I wanted them to understand. You're being taught that youth is an advantage, I said, that innovation is everything, that disruption is the goal, that moving fast and breaking things is how you succeed. And there's some truth to that. Youth does have advantages. Innovation does matter. Fresh thinking is valuable. But you're not being taught the other side. You're not being taught that experience matters. That expertise takes time to develop. That wisdom comes from making mistakes and learning from them. That some problems can't be solved with enthusiasm and digital strategies. I paused, looking at their faces. Some looked skeptical. Some looked curious. Some looked thoughtful. Here's what I want you to understand, I continued. In 10 or 20 or 30 years, you're going to have expertise. You're going to have experience. You're going to have wisdom. And someone younger than you is going to tell you you're obsolete. Someone is going to try to replace you with a cheaper, younger alternative. Someone is going to assume that youth is better than experience. And when that happens, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to remember that experience is valuable, that expertise matters, that wisdom is needed. I want you to fight back, to prove them wrong, to show that your best years aren't behind you. But more than that, I said, I want you to remember this when you're in a position to make decisions about other people's careers, when you're a manager or an executive or an entrepreneur, when you have the power to hire and fire and promote. I want you to value experience. I want you to recognize that expertise takes time to develop. I want you to create organizations that respect both youth and experience, that value both innovation and wisdom, that understand you need both to succeed. One student raised her hand. But isn't it true that older workers are more expensive? She asked. Don't companies have to control costs? Yes, I said. Older workers are often more expensive because they have more experience, more expertise, more value to offer. And yes, companies have to control costs. But the question is, are you controlling costs or are you destroying value? Are you saving money in the short term while losing institutional knowledge and client relationships in the long term? Are you prioritizing efficiency over effectiveness? Youth often brings fresh perspectives and new ideas. But innovation isn't just about new ideas. It's also about knowing which ideas will work and which won't. It's about understanding context and constraints. It's about having the judgment to know when to innovate and when to stick with what works. And that judgment comes from experience. The best organizations don't choose between youth and experience. They combine both. They pair junior employees with senior mentors. They value fresh thinking and institutional knowledge. They understand that innovation without wisdom is just chaos, and wisdom without innovation is just stagnation. After the class, several students approached me with questions. One young man, probably in his mid-20s, waited until the others had left. Mr. Mitchell, he said, I wanted to ask you something personal. Of course, I said. My father was fired last year, he said. He's 59. He'd been with his company for 25 years. They replaced him with someone my age. He's been devastated. He feels worthless, like his career is over. What should I tell him? I felt a surge of empathy. I knew exactly what his father was feeling. Tell him his experience is valuable, I said. Tell him his expertise matters. Tell him he can build something new. Tell him to make a list of everyone he's worked with, every client he's served, every person who's benefited from his expertise. Those are his assets. Tell him to figure out what value he can offer, what problems he can solve, what expertise he has that others need. Tell him to reach out to former clients and colleagues, not to solicit, but to inform, to let them know he's available. Tell him to be patient. Building something new takes time, but it's possible. And tell him that being fired doesn't define his worth. His experience defines his worth. His expertise defines his worth. His track record of delivering results defines his worth. The young man nodded, his eyes glistening. Thank you, he said. I'll tell him. And I'll remember this conversation when I'm in a position to make decisions about other people's careers. That's all I ask, I said. 20 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 78 years old. I'd been fully retired for 5 years. I spent my time with Susan, with our children and grandchildren, traveling, reading, enjoying life. One afternoon, I received a package in the mail. It was from Mitchell Consulting Group. Inside was a plaque. It read, "In honor of Michael Mitchell, founder of Mitchell Consulting Group, your vision, your values, and your commitment to proving that experience matters have shaped this organization and inspired countless professionals. Thank you for showing us that age is just a number and experience is power." There was also a letter from Kyle Henderson. "Michael," he wrote, 20 years ago, you gave me a second chance. You taught me what really matters in business. You showed me that experience is valuable and that expertise takes time to develop. Today, Mitchell Consulting Group has $200 million in annual revenue. We have 125 employees. We work with some of the most prestigious clients in the world, and it's all built on the foundation you created. But more than that, we've maintained the culture you established. We value experience. We respect expertise. We mentor the next generation. We understand that business is about relationships and results, not just about cost savings and efficiency. We wanted to honor you with this plaque, to thank you for everything you built, to recognize that your legacy continues, to show that what you created has outlasted you and will continue to impact people for years to come. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for showing me what really matters. With gratitude and respect, Kyle. I hung the plaque in my home office, next to the framed patents from my years at Hartwell, next to the Consulting Firm of the Year award, next to the Lifetime Achievement Award. Proof of a career well lived. Proof that experience mattered. Proof that I'd made a difference. That evening, Susan and I sat on our back porch watching the sunset, reflecting on the journey we'd taken. We did it, I said. We took a risk and it paid off. We built something meaningful. We proved that experience matters. We did, Susan agreed. And you helped a lot of people along the way. That's what I'm most proud of, I said. Not the business success, not the awards, not the recognition, but the people I helped, the professionals I mentored, the conversation I changed, the proof that age is just a number and experience is power. You changed how people think about age in the workplace, Susan said. You proved that being fired at 58 isn't the end. It can be the beginning. You showed that your best years don't have to be behind you. I hope so, I said. I hope that when someone is told they're too old, they remember my story. I hope they remember that they can fight back, that they can build something new, that they can prove them wrong. 21 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 79 years old. I'd been retired for 6 years. My health was good. My mind was sharp. I was enjoying life. One morning, I received a call from a journalist writing a book about age discrimination in the workplace. She wanted to interview me about my experience. We talked for 2 hours. I told her my story, about being fired at 58, about starting Mitchell Consulting Group, about taking my former employer's biggest clients, about building a successful firm based on relationships and expertise, about mentoring the next generation, about proving that experience mattered. What do you want people to understand about age discrimination, she asked. I want them to understand that it's not just wrong, it's stupid, I said. When companies push out experienced professionals to save money, they're not just hurting those individuals, they're hurting themselves. They're losing institutional knowledge. They're damaging client relationships. They're sacrificing long-term success for short-term savings. And I want people to understand that age discrimination isn't inevitable. It's a choice. Companies choose to value cost over value. They choose to prioritize youth over experience. They choose to assume that older workers are obsolete. But they could make different choices. They could value both youth and experience. They could recognize that expertise takes time to develop. They could create cultures that respect professionals at all stages of their careers. What advice would you give to someone who's been told they're too old? The journalist asked. Don't accept it, I said. Don't believe that your best years are behind you. Don't go quietly if you still have work to do. Make a list of your assets, your relationships, your expertise, your track record. Figure out what value you can offer, what problems you can solve, what expertise you have that others need. Reach out to former clients and colleagues. Let them know you're available. Give them a choice and be patient. Building something new takes time, but it's possible. I did it. Thousands of others have done it. You can too. What do you hope your legacy will be? The journalist asked. I thought about that. It was a good question, a deep question. I hope my legacy is that I changed the conversation about age and experience in the workplace, I said. I hope people remember that I proved experience matters, that I showed you can build something meaningful at any age, that I demonstrated that being fired at 58 isn't the end, it's just a new beginning. The interview was published 6 months later in a book about age discrimination. My story was one of dozens, but the message was consistent. Age discrimination is wrong. Experience matters. You can fight back. 22 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 80 years old. It was a milestone birthday. Susan threw a party. Our children and grandchildren were there, friends and former colleagues. Kyle Henderson and Maria Santos and David Park from Mitchell Consulting Group. Richard Chen and Patricia Kowalski and James Morrison, the 3 clients who'd followed me from Hartwell 22 years ago. and we're still working with Mitchell Consulting Group. During the party, Kyle gave a toast. To Michael, he said, raising his glass. A man who proved that age is just a number. A man who showed that experience is power. A man who changed my life and the lives of countless others. 22 years ago, Michael was fired for being too old. He was replaced by me, a 25-year-old kid who thought he knew everything but actually knew nothing. He could have been bitter. He could have given up. He could have accepted that his career was over. Instead, he built something remarkable. He started Mitchell Consulting Group. He took his former employer's biggest clients. He proved that experience matters. And then, incredibly, he gave me a second chance. He hired me. He mentored me. He taught me what really matters in business. He showed me that success isn't about credentials or age or cost savings. It's about delivering value, building trust, solving problems, being there for clients when they need you. Today, Mitchell Consulting Group has $200 million in annual revenue. We have 125 employees. We work with some of the most prestigious clients in the world. And it's all built on the foundation Michael created. But more than that, Michael changed how we think about age and experience in the workplace. He proved that being fired at 58 isn't the end. He showed that your best years don't have to be behind you. He demonstrated that experience is valuable and that expertise matters. So here's to Michael, a man who refused to be counted out, a man who proved them wrong, a man who built something meaningful and helped countless others along the way. The room erupted in applause. People were cheering. Some were crying. I stood there surrounded by family and friends and colleagues, feeling a sense of gratitude and accomplishment. I'd lived a good life. I'd built something meaningful. I'd made a difference. And I'd proven that age is just a number and experience is power. 23 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 81 years old. My health was starting to decline. I was slowing down, but my mind was still sharp. I could still think, still reflect, still appreciate the journey I'd taken. One afternoon, I was sitting in my home office looking at the plaques and awards on the wall when Susan came in. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "Everything," I said. "The journey we've taken, the risks we took, the success we built, the people we helped." "Any regrets?" Susan asked. "None," I said. And I meant it. I'd lived a full life. I'd built something meaningful. I'd proven that experience matters. I'd helped countless people. I'd changed the conversation about age in the workplace. What more could I ask for? Not to anyone specific, but to everyone who'd been told they were too old, to everyone who'd been pushed out, to everyone who'd been made to feel obsolete. I wanted to leave them with a message, a reminder, a call to action. "Dear friend," I wrote, "if you're reading this, you've probably been told you're too old. You've probably been pushed out of your job. You've probably been made to feel obsolete. I know how that feels. I was fired at 58, replaced by someone half my age, told I was obsolete. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life, but it was also one of the most transformative, because being fired forced me to do something I might never have done otherwise. It forced me to bet on myself. It forced me to prove that experience matters. It forced me to build something new. And that's what I want you to understand. Being told you're too old isn't the end. It's just a new beginning. Your experience is valuable. Your expertise matters. Your wisdom is needed. Don't accept someone else's definition of your worth. Don't believe the narrative that your best years are behind you. Don't go quietly if you still have work to do. Make a list of your assets, your relationships, your expertise, your track record. Figure out what value you can offer, what problems you can solve, what expertise you have that others need. Reach out to former clients and colleagues. Let them know you're available. Give them a choice. And be patient. Building something new takes time, but it's possible. I did it. Thousands of others have done it. You can too. Age is just a number. Experience is power. And when someone tells you you're obsolete, the best response is to prove them wrong. With respect and encouragement, Michael Mitchell, I sealed the letter and put it in a drawer. Someday, someone would find it. Someday, someone who needed to hear that message would read it. And maybe, just maybe, it would give them the courage to fight back, to build something new, to prove them wrong. 24 years after leaving Hartwell & Associates, I was 82 years old. I was in declining health. I knew my time was limited, but I was at peace. I'd lived a full life. I'd built something meaningful. I'd made a difference. One morning, Kyle Henderson came to visit. He was 47 now, still CEO of Mitchell Consulting Group, still building on what I'd started. "Michael," he said, sitting down across from me, "I wanted to tell you something." "What's that?" I asked. "Mitchell Consulting Group just signed our largest client ever," he said. "A Fortune 100 company. $250 million contract over 5 years. It's the biggest deal in our history." "That's wonderful," I said. "Congratulations." "But that's not why I'm telling you," Kyle said. "I'm telling you because of how we won the deal." "How?" I asked. "The client told us they chose Mitchell Consulting Group because of our culture," Kyle said. "Because we value experience. Because we combine the energy of youth with the wisdom of experience. Because we understand that business is about relationships and results, not just about cost savings and efficiency. They said that's rare in consulting, that most firms prioritize youth and innovation over experience and wisdom. But we don't. We value both, and that's because of you, because of the culture you built, because of the values you instilled, because of what you taught us. It's impacting more people every year. Thank you," I said, "for continuing what I started, for maintaining the culture, for proving that experience matters. Thank you for giving me the chance," Kyle said, "for believing in me, for teaching me, for showing me what really matters." After Kyle left, I sat in my office looking at the plaques and awards on the wall. Proof of a career well lived. Proof that experience mattered. Proof that I'd made a difference. Susan came in and sat down beside me. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Grateful," I said, "for everything, for the journey we took, for the risks we took, for the success we built, for the people we helped, for you." We sat there in comfortable silence, holding hands, reflecting on the journey we'd taken together. 25 years after leaving Hartwell and Associates, I was 83 years old. I was in hospice care. My time was short, but I was at peace. One afternoon, Maria Santos came to visit. She was now CEO of Mitchell Consulting Group. Kyle had stepped down to spend more time with his family, and Maria had taken over. "Michael," she said, sitting beside my bed, "I wanted to tell you something." "What's that?" I asked, my voice weak. "Mitchell Consulting Group just won Consulting Firm of the Year," she said. "For the 3rd time. The first time was when you won it 17 years ago. The second time was when I told you about it 8 years ago. And now we've won it again." "That's wonderful," I said. "Congratulations." "But that's not what I wanted to tell you," Maria said. "I wanted to tell you why we won. The judges said we won because of our culture, because we value experience and innovation equally, because we respect professionals at all stages of their careers, because we understand that business is about relationships and results, because we've built something that combines the energy of youth with the wisdom of experience, and that's all because of you. Because of what you built, because of the values you instilled, because of the culture you created. Your legacy is continuing. It's growing. It's impacting more people every year. Thank you," I said, "for continuing what I started. Thank you for building it," Maria said. "Thank you for showing us what really matters. Thank you for proving that experience is valuable and that age is just a number." After Maria left, I closed my eyes and reflected on my life. I'd been fired at 58, told I was obsolete, replaced by someone half my age. It had been devastating, painful, humiliating, but it had also been transformative. It had forced me to bet on myself. It had pushed me to build something new. It had given me the opportunity to prove that experience mattered, and I had proven it. I'd built Mitchell Consulting Group. I'd taken my former employer's biggest clients. I'd created a culture that valued experience. I'd mentored the next generation. I'd changed the conversation about age in the workplace. I'd made a difference. And that was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything. If you've ever been told you're too old, too slow, too obsolete to matter, I want you to understand this. They're wrong. You have decades of experience. You have skills that can't be taught in a classroom. You have a network of people who trust you. You have perspective that comes from living through change and adapting to it. You have knowledge that's valuable, that's irreplaceable, that matters. Use it. When they try to push you out, don't go quietly. Don't accept their narrative. Don't believe the lie that your best years are behind you. Your best years are the ones you choose to make count. Fight back. Hold them accountable. Use your experience and your knowledge and your connections to show them they made a mistake. Build something, create something, prove something. Show them that age is just a number and experience is power. I was fired at 58 for being too old. I was replaced by a 25-year-old intern. They thought they could save money. They thought youth was better than experience. They thought I was obsolete. They were wrong. I started my own consulting firm. I took their 3 biggest clients. I built a $200 million business. I mentored the next generation. I changed the conversation about age in the workplace. And I did it because I refused to accept someone else's definition of my worth. You can do the same. Every single one of you has the power to rewrite the ending. Every single one of you has the ability to prove that experience matters. Every single one of you can show that age discrimination isn't just wrong, it's stupid. Don't let anyone tell you you're obsolete. Don't let anyone tell you you're too old. Don't let anyone tell you your time has passed. Your time is now. Your experience is valuable. Your knowledge matters. And if someone can't see that, that's their failure, not yours. Age is just a number. Experience is power. And revenge? Revenge is building something so successful that they realize what they lost. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, if it inspired you, if it gave you hope, I need you to do something for me right now. First, smash that like button. It tells YouTube that this story matters and helps it reach more people who need to hear it. Second, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story of people who refuse to be counted out. Third, share this video. Send it to someone who's been told they're too old. Post it on your social media. Help spread the message that age discrimination is wrong and experience matters. And finally, tell me your story in the comments below. Have you been underestimated because of your age? Have you fought back? Have you proven them wrong? I want to hear from you. I want to know where you're watching from and what this story meant to you. Because every one of us has the power to change the narrative. Every one of us can show that experience isn't a liability, it's a superpower. Every single one of us matters, regardless of how many years we've lived. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Your best days aren't behind you. They're the ones you choose to make count. And remember, they replaced me with an intern. So I took their 3 biggest clients and built a $200 million empire. Never underestimate someone with decades of experience and nothing left to lose. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, experience wins.